It's time for Shawn and Maya in the morning.
Quick pitch to Walter, looking for the record, cuts back, he's got it, he's out of it at 25 to the 26-yard line. Walter Payton becomes the National Football League all-time leading rusher.
Jordan, open, Chicago with the lead. The Chicago Bulls have won their 6th NBA championship.
Chicago has won the Stanley Cup. Palmero over the head of Jenks. Uribe charges, throws, out! And the White Sox have won the World Series.
A little bouncer slowly toward Bryant. He will glove it, go to Rizzo.
It's in time, and the Chicago Cubs win the World Series.
What up, what up, what up? Welcome to Shawn and Maya in the morning. This House Music Monday edition. Guys, thanks for tuning in. I'm your boy, the Superback Shawn Sierra, and I am fired the freak up. Wow, listen, if you're watching this on Facebook Live, well, then I guess you found us on Facebook. You know what? And if you don't follow us on Facebook, okay, tisk, tisk, tisk. Make sure you follow Shawn and Maya in the morning, and make sure you follow SportsZone Chicago. If you're watching us on our YouTube channel, excellent, okay. And if you don't subscribe to our YouTube channel, tisk, tisk, tisk to you too. All right, go to YouTube, type in SportsZone Chicago, and click subscribe. Okay. Now, if you're watching this on our app, in the words of C. Montgomery Burns, excellent. Again, there you go. All right. And if you're not carrying us around with you on our app, what are you doing? What are you doing over there? What are you doing? All right, wherever you get your apps from, okay, go in there, type SportsZone Chicago, and download the app, SportsZone Chicago. It's free $99. You can take us with you anywhere you go. And you listen, not only do we have Shawn and Maya in the morning, but we also have 4 other live shows throughout the week that you can check out, or you can go back and check and listen to if you can't make the live broadcast. Listen, you can also tweet the show. You can tweet us at SM_mornings, at SM_mornings, or at SportsZone Shy. That's CHI, at SportsZone Shy. Now, if you want to follow me, just me, personally online, want to know what I did? Let me tell you what I did. Want to know what I did? Here's what I did. I made it nice and easy for you folks. Nice and easy. One handle for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, the Snapple. All one handle at the Shawn Sierra. If you want to follow my lovely co-host, Maya Akai, you can follow her on Facebook and Twitter at the Sports Chica. If you want to follow her on Instagram because you do it just for the gram and you're an IGer, and just follow her at Maya_Akai. That's MAYA_AKAI. I'd be remiss if I didn't bring him out. He's my man. He's the man who makes it all run smoothly. He is we call him the Wiz, the man behind the curtain, but I like to call him my Puerto Rican Swiss Army knife, Ivan Vargas. Ivan, what's up, Papa? How are you? You're on mute. You're on mute. No.
Nothing?
Now we got you.
Now you got me. Okay, perfect. Yeah, I unplugged it just a second ago and I forgot to turn it back in. Plug it back in. I'm good, Shawn. Good morning. Yeah, I'm just going to say this. I'm just looking forward to Ken. I'm looking forward to Ken's segment today. I'll just say that. And I'm going to
Okay. All right. We got a great show for you, but we need you to get interactive. Man, we got people on the on the text line already. So whatever platform you're listening or watching us from, leave a question or comment on that platform and it'll come up. John Centeno, good morning, Papa. How are you? We got Vernon in the chat line. Armando Lara Jr. Jr., what's up, Papa? Buenos lunes. And then Vernon, man, we got people jamming already, and I love it. Thanks. Listen. When I say we got a great show, I am not bull jiving. Where's my card? I am not bull jiving. 10 o'clock. I'm telling you this. And when you talked about, here's the situation that the base is in. I'm kind of stingy. That's why I don't want to lend. Sorry, I got a little funky right there. No. Josh Nelson from White Sox Machine, SoxMachine.com is going to call in. We're going to talk about some of the issues that the White Sox are having. I'm not happy with some of the things that are going on. And I'm not a negative Nancy. Trust me, I'm not a negative Nancy. But there are some things that are going on right now that I'm just not too fired up about, and I'm not getting too worked up over it. Okay, because it's early. If this was happening in the middle or the end of the season, I'd be really fired up. But I need to address these things. And I want to talk with Josh about this earlier. So Josh Nelson from SoxMachine.com is calling in at 10 o'clock. And then at 11 o'clock, my man, Xavier Pope, Esquire. He is an attorney. He's a sports attorney. And I want to talk to him about the Deshaun Watson case. Okay, there's just been a lot of information coming out and a lot of things. And I want to get his take on it because I think a lot of it is BS. Okay, but I also want to see what an actual lawyer has to say about this whole case with Deshaun Watson. 22 women have accused him. I believe 2 came out public, and now the court says that anyone else who has to file has to come out and put their name. The majority of the women who filed these charges, these civil charges, not criminal, civil charges, did so under the guise of Jane Doe. Now they have to report themselves and report them by their name. They have to say who you is. Okay. And I think that's important because there could be a lot of bullshit going on. And I'm just going to say this. Okay. And I'm just going to say this. If I was a woman, and I'm not, but I've asked a couple of women in other, Maya was one, you saw her last week talk about it, but I asked some women what they would do. So here's what the situation of in a nutshell about the Deshaun Watson case. 22 women have come out and they're suing him for $500, okay, in civil court, okay, for indecent exposure. I guess he exposed himself. Look, now listen, if you ever got a massage, they tell you disrobe to comfort. So however much you want to take off, you take off that much. I have no problem getting naked, and I've gotten plenty of massages in my life, and I've always just get naked. I'm just the way it's supposed to be. I don't know.
They say it's cool. It's cool. But what was Deshaun doing? What was Deshaun doing? I have to say, what was Deshaun doing?
That's the question. So my issue is so he's there, and apparently he's exposed himself. Apparently he got an erection allegedly got an erection with some of the women some of the masseuses. He ejaculated. One said he even penetrated her. Okay. So if that's the case, why are you only filing criminal charges? I mean, civil charges. Why aren't you filing criminal charges? Because if he penetrated you without your permission, then that's rape. But in addition to that, wouldn't you want to hit him in the pocketbooks? Because as a professional athlete, you want him to pay for what he did, figuratively, by going to court, going to jail. So that's why you file the criminal charges, and then you're not going to sue him for $500. $500 is going to take up that's going to take up the lawyer's fee, and you're still going to owe the lawyer. Okay.
I mean, these women are professional.
There's a lot of things that just don't add up that I'm not happy about. So we're going to talk to Xavier Pope at 11 o'clock and try and get a better perspective from someone in that field, from an actual attorney, a sports attorney at that. And that's why you're definitely going to want to make sure that you're available at 11 o'clock for Xavier Pope.
These women multiplied overnight too, Shawn. Remember we were talking about that. It's like it was just like, like we could look at one is bad enough, right? But then you see this serial type of approach to it. You're like, whoa, what the hell's going on here? So yeah, I mean, it throws a red flag, but there's issues. There's issues with the approach to it, I guess.
And they're all of them are represented by the same attorney.
Correct.
Really?
Correct.
Really? For real? Really? All the same attorney? Something's not right there. So we're going to talk to Xavier Pope. Josh Nelson, 10 o'clock, talking White Sox. Xavier Pope, 11 o'clock, talking to the Deshaun Watson case. Again, John Centeno says not taking any sides here, but it's easier to file civil charges than criminal if you are exposed and as a lie, the consequences are a slap on the wrist. True. Very true. If it's a criminal charge.
I don't think that's right. I don't think they have to prove that it's a lie. They just got to prove reasonable doubt. They just have to prove that hey, it doesn't look like both sides are adding up and get the case thrown out. Like he could sue them for that. Like, hey, this is still defamation of character. You know what I mean? Even if it wasn't a lie. So if they could get it, if they prove any beyond reasonable doubt, I mean, shit, he could still go after him.
Man, and if I'm telling you, if I'm Deshaun Watson, because I'm going to tell you this, in my own personal opinion, I think he got freaky with some of them. I do. Okay. I think some may have liked it. Some may not have liked it. Okay. I just have an issue with some of those things. Okay. No criminal charges. Okay. Only suing them for $500. Come on. Really? And I've asked plenty of women outside. I said, listen, if someone violated you like that, okay, would you sue them for only $500? And the first thing that most of the women that I talked to said, his ass is going to jail. I said, thank you. That's my point. So criminal charges would have need to have been filed, not civil. So yeah, we're going to talk, and this is a very interesting topic that we got to deal with. So we're going to talk to Xavier Pope at 11 o'clock, and you're not going to want to miss this one because it's going to get down and dirty, and he's going to give it to us
straight details.
You know, straight details straight from a lawyer's mouth, from a sports attorney. Okay, so John says when a situation stinks, there's usually garbage near. Yeah, and the garbage could be the lawyer and all the women who may have falsely accused him or may have colluded. I really can't wait to see how this plays out, because at the end someone's going to look like an ass. Going to have and listen, it could be Deshaun Watson. It could be Deshaun Watson. It could be Deshaun Watson that comes and he got super freaky with all his masseuses. And you know what? Well, hey, then and if he did and he violated women to that extent where he penetrated, hey boss, that's rape. You know you can't do that. And you know what? And then press charges, I guess. But
and I get Coach Jay's point, but you got to understand, Deshaun is a top of the line pro athlete, and this woman is not nowhere in. I don't care what self defense class she takes. Deshaun Watson is 10 times stronger than she is, and is more likely to take advantage of her than her fight him off. You know what I'm saying? Like I get that she knows how to protect herself, but shit, you get like imagine a woman trying to defend offensive lineman or some of these quarterbacks nowadays. You know what I mean? Like it's a tough one. It's a tough one. I get she knows how to protect herself, but you're talking about a man versus a woman right now.
You know, and here's the thing:
a pro athlete versus a woman.
Here's the thing, and I know we're putting the cart before the horse. And Coach Dre, I thank you so much. I appreciate the comment. Here's the thing: if you're taking self-defense classes, okay, let me tell you a quick story. So. After high school, one of my buddies, Jimmy Mack, shout out to Jimmy McCormick. He lives up in Wisconsin. He's a twin, Billy and Jimmy McCormick. All right. I was just saying it the way no, I agree. I'm not saying I'm not coming at you, Dre. I'm not coming at you, Dre. I'm just saying here's let me just tell you the story. Okay. When so we after high school, he went right away to the Marines. So he went to basic training or whatever it's called, the boot camp, whatever it's called. He went out to San Diego, I think, whatever. You know, I had the summer. Then I enrolled in Holy Cross. Went to I had mini camp, freshman mini camp, and then mini camp, and then the season. So and then I came back at Thanksgiving, and that was right around the time his basic training got over. So we were at a party. Okay, we came back. We were both in town at a party from one of our friends from high school, and I was like, "Oh, it's that Jimmy. What's going on, dude? How you doing? Good to see you. How was the Marines? How was boot camp, training camp?" And he was telling me all this kinds of stuff. And I asked him this question. I said, "Jimmy, I got a question for you. Now, mind you, I was 5'11". I was about 200 pounds, a little less, probably about 195. Okay, Jimmy was about 5'6", maybe 5'7" in shoes, $160. Okay." And I said, and I know Marines, they train you. My uncle was a Marine, and you talked to us about the training and whatever. So I said, Jimmy, I said, I got a question for you, boss. I said, right now, how fast would it take for you to kill me? I said, what? I said, really? I said, standing right now, if we were to fight, how fast would it take you to kill me? It's like about 3 seconds. I was like, teach me some moves. Because, I grew up on the south side of Chicago, and sometimes I experience some situations, especially,
You got
a lot of my friends were white. Okay. I had black and white friends, but when I hung out with my white friends, sometimes, I'd be in their neighborhood and I had to diagnose people quickly, whether they're about to mess me up or, you know what I mean? And it happened a couple of times where I'm like, all right, I gotta get out of here. Just because. Okay?
The situation is unsettling. Yeah.
So what happens is that he taught me some things, and there are things, and I don't care if you're a professional athlete, if you're an average Joe, if you're an MMA fighter, whatever, there are certain things that you just can't deal with. For example, you get kicked in the nuts. Okay. I don't care how strong or how big and bad you are. You're going to feel it. Okay. You get chopped in the throat. If you can't breathe, you can't fight. It's that simple. You can't because you don't care what else was going on. You're trying to catch your breath. So these are some of the things that he taught me real quick, just to disable. He said, look, I'll teach you how to handle it in case you're outnumbered 2 or 3 or 4 on one. So he showed me. And one of the things was a quick chop to the throat. Okay. If you're in a self-defense class, I'm sure that is one of the things that they will teach you is a quick chop to the throat. Okay. Because I don't know if you've ever been hit in the throat. Okay. But if someone gives you a quick, yeah, okay, you're stunned. And if it's hard enough, you're like, you want to catch your breath. And that's the only thing that's important, not penetrating a woman, not beating somebody up, not anything else. So there are things that if this woman has taken self-defense classes, that she should know. And if she doesn't know these, she better get her money back. I'm just telling you. Okay. Hada! You tell him, Jamar. Oh. But we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Right.
Okay.
Let's pump the brakes. Let's pump the brakes.
Let's pump the brakes, and we're going to talk a little bit with Xavier Pope at 11. I'm telling you, you're definitely going to want him to be available and check that out. Listen, guys, you know how we do. The first segment of every show is called Top of the Morning.
Just when you want it.
Top of the morning to you. Top of the morning to you. Top of the morning to you.
The Top of the Morning segment is powered by the Chicago Crusader newspaper, and today we got a little bit of a twist. All right, Joe's not going to be with us today. He'll be with us on Wednesday. I guess since things are opening up, okay, the Chicago Crusader has been doing a lot more now, and he's got assignments or things to do every Monday and Friday, so he can come on Wednesdays. He told me this last night. I was like, "You're kidding me, dude." He's like, "Nah." I was like, "All right." So yeah, he's got more work. He got like, earn your pay, Joseph. Earn your pay. Earn your pay. So, so he won't be with us. Jason said, "Remember when Patrick Kane and Juwan Howard were falsely accused? Atheist shot like Denzel gave dude, and he got game." Yes. But the only thing about that, Jason, is that, Deshaun Watson hasn't said anything. And then his lawyers have definitely said, don't say a damn thing about it. We all want to hear. We all want to hear what's going on. They're saying, hey, don't say jack spit about it. We'll figure it out. We'll take care of it. And trust me, if I were him and it's proven that it was false, because remember, the attorney who's representing all these women, he came to him and asked him for a settlement. Said, hey, you know what? Basically hush money. If you don't give us this money, it's going to be leaked to the public. That's extortion. That is extortion. That's blackmail. Come on. I don't, again, and these are all questions I'm going to talk to him and ask Xavier Pope at 11 o'clock today, and when he didn't, then all of a sudden 2 came out, 5 came out, all of a sudden 9, then 11, then 20, then 15, then 17, then 19, then 22. Okay. You're getting me fired up. You're getting me fired up. You're gonna want to be there and check it out. Well, listen, like I said, so the first top of the morning topic. Yesterday was a bad day for Chicago sports. A bad day. So let's pick one. Let's start off with my White Sox. My White Sox lose to the Kansas City Royals 4-3 in 10. Okay. Dylan Cease went 4 2/3, 4 hits, 1 run earned, 3 walks, 6 Ks. Okay. Adam Engel hits a 2-run homer that puts the White Sox on top. It puts them in the lead, and then the bullpen can't hold it. Hendricks blows a save in the 9th, gives up a homer to tie it. Garrett Crochet gets the loss in the 10th, because don't forget, in extra innings, you have a runner on second now. And, the guy laid down a bunt, and it all went to hell from there. Sox lose 4-3. This is a situation that's starting to become very bothersome to me. I'm tired of seeing this bullpen, and it's an early sample size. It's early in the year, but I'm tired of seeing this God-blessed bullpen implode. Okay, you had Aaron Bummer last week, if I'm not mistaken, after his comments saying, "Oh, we're good. We're going to be one of the best in baseball. No one's going to score on us, we're not going to lose a game after the 6th inning." Guess what? He's the first one to blow a save, to blow a lead. Karma's a bitch. Remember that.
Bummer.
Pun intended. He's the first one to blow a lead. Now the Sox have lost, I want to say 4 games now. Game 1 and Game 3 of the opening series against the Angels. They should have won. They blew. They blew another one late. They blew yesterday's game late. And this was their closer, Liam Hendricks. I'm not happy about this. Okay, I'm not very happy about this. La Russa took the blame for one when he kept who was it? Was it Matt Foster? He kept Matt Foster in there a little too long. This bullpen needs to do some soul searching, and they need to look in the mirror. Okay? And I know bullpens, they're iffy. They fluctuate from year to year. One year you could be on and be the man. Next year you could be dog shit. Or vice versa. And right now, okay, the majority of this bullpen looks like dog shit. I'm not gonna hang that L on Crochet, although he should have fielded that bunt. They work on it in spring training. Michael Kopech has looked great. But you have some guys who just aren't performing to their level, their capabilities right now, and that's frustrating. That's frustrating because we should have 4 more wins. We've given up the lead in at least 4 games. I'm trying to remember the 5th one. I'm trying. But we should have 4 more wins to our name. Okay? That is bothersome. Okay? Because at the end of the season, when we're fighting for position, these are the games we're going to look at and say, damn it, these are the games we should have won. These are the games that had we taken care of business, had we not blown leads, we wouldn't be in this position. Mark my words. Mark my words. Right now, the Sox are in 4th place in the division. We're a 4-5 record. Cleveland's in 1st. Kansas City is in 2nd. Minnesota's in 3rd, and we're in 4th, right above the lowly Tigers. Okay, this is bothersome, and Tony La Russa, like I said, he accepted one, but there's a point in time where as a player you have to do your job. To borrow in the memorable words of our former coach Tom Thibodeau, do your job. It's that simple, and the relievers aren't doing it. Here's a situation that I'm finding and it seems to be permeating throughout the White Sox, and I'm not happy about it. The White Sox think that they've done some shit with all the hype and all the individual awards that they have. Tim Anderson with a batting title, Yoan Moncada with a 3rd in the batting title before the year before COVID, Jose Abreu MVP, okay, Silver Slugger, Gold Glove for Lewis Robert, Okay. All those things are great, but that doesn't equal the World Series. And I'm not seeing from this entire White Sox team, players, I'm talking hitters, position players, and pitching, I'm not seeing an edge. I'm not seeing a desire to win. I'm not seeing a hunger to win. Okay? I've seen it with other teams in this town. The Cubs, as much as I hate to reference them, I hate the Cubs. Look, it. But in 2015, they had that look. 2016, they had that look. They hadn't done shit in 2015. You got to the NLCS. That's great. Did you get to the World Series? No. So they were pissed. They came back in 2016 on a mission, with a chip on their shoulder. Everybody, they had that, and I'm dating myself, but damn it, they had the eye of the tiger back in 2016. And it pissed me off because I knew they're going to do some good things. I'm like, damn it, this team is so talented. I said, but more importantly than talented, they're focused. This White Sox team hasn't done a damn thing. And there's just not enough focus there for me. I said it about the position players and their at-bats. And now I'm saying it about the damn bullpen, and it's bothersome. And they need to step their game up because I'm tired of this bullshit. Stop reading your press clippings about being the best bullpen in the bigs, and show that you're the best bullpen in the bigs. Because until you have that World Series trophy hoisted, you ain't done a damn thing. Except wear a really cool romper. So that's my issue to that issue, that challenge. Get off your high horse. Stop thinking you're the shit. Stop thinking you're phenomenal because you haven't done a damn thing as a team. How about we stay focused? How about we have a better approach at the plate? How about we move runners over? How about we steal bases? Let's get locked in, gentlemen. Bullpen, especially. You can't be giving up leads like this because we're going to need them down the road.
I'll say this. In 16, it wasn't real to me until Yasiel Puig grounded into that double play. And you could hear the Cubs are going to the World Series. You could see the Cubs going to the World Series. It wasn't real to me that, till that moment. And all year long, I was saying, I have all the faith in the world in them. And then I have, they could just easily be the Cubs.
Be the Cubs.
Mm-hmm. They could easily be the Cubs. So I wasn't really I was committed because I saw what happened in 15, but I was more or less I don't know that, who is this team? They didn't do that. That 15 team could have been overachievers. You know what I mean? Everything could have been for nothing. But I feel like the White Sox, more or less, like you said, a little bit too much of the press clippings, and it's not because they're a bad baseball team. They should be talked about as a good baseball team. But if you're not going to go ahead and perform on the field, and you think that you've already won something without winning anything, then you're going to be in for a rude awakening, especially with 162 games, to play.
Yeah. Listen, we got to take a quick break, and on the other side of the break, we have more top of the morning topics. So don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
WrestleMania 3 at the Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan. It's a day that I'm certain my guest at this time will not forget. I'm talking about the former Intercontinental Champion of the world, Macho Man Randy Savage.
Nothing means nothing.
Nothing
means nothing. Man.
Nothing means nothing. What do you mean by that?
I'm talking about all the way to the top, yeah. Unjustifiably in a position that I'd rather not be in, but the cream will rise to the top, oh yeah.
AutomotiveMap.com presents the Sports Flash on 1330 and 95.9 The Zone.
Back in the 8th inning with a base hit. He's going to square the bunt. He's going to drag him up right side of the pitcher. He throws home. He gets away from the catcher. Taylor scores, and the Royals take the lead here in the 10th inning.
The call on Royals radio as Kansas City rallied past the White Sox for a 4-3 10-inning win on Sunday. Michael Taylor opened the 10th on second base and advanced on Nicky Lopez's sack. Whit Merrifield was walked intentionally. Then Andrew Benintendi bunted the ball right back to the mound. The Cubs got drilled 7-1 against Pittsburgh. JT Brubaker pitched into the 6th and had the first 3 RBI of his career in the win. NHL tonight, the Blackhawks visit the Blue Jackets. Chicago coming off a 4-3 win at Columbus on Saturday. NBA Sunday, the T-Wolves 121-117 over the Bulls. Chuck Sanders, that's the Sports Flash, 1330 95.9 The Zone.
To all you do-it-yourselfers, get ready to welcome Fram into the fam. Because America's #1 oil filter brand now has their own new line of motor oil and fluids. And it's only at Advance and CarQuest Auto Parts. Stop into Advance and choose from 4 new Fram oil change bundles starting at just $20.99. They have the oil and filters you need to keep your engine running stronger, longer. Advance your auto at Advance Auto Parts and participating CarQuest locations. See store for details.
I'm Dr. Baker, an ER physician. If you're having leg pain, swelling, or redness, but haven't talked to your doctor yet, don't wait. This could be deep vein thrombosis, a blood clot which could travel to your lungs and lead to a pulmonary embolism, which could cause chest pain or discomfort or difficulty breathing and be deadly. Your symptoms could mean something serious, so don't wait. Talk to a doctor right away, by phone, online, or in person.
Brought to you by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
So bad. And Defoe with a pinch hit drive to right field. Defoe! D-I-F-O! Clears the deck with a cannonball. First Pirate homer for Wilmer Defoe. And gives the Buccos what seems to be now a commanding 7-1 lead.
Look at it here. Oh, that was actually a slider. Thought he got a fastball. Slider that just stayed up and spun. Defoe gets all of it.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago. That's a good segue. First, I want to bring in our partner. Jason's coming in. Our boy is going to come in and sit with us at 10 o'clock today. Or in the middle of this, I'm sorry, at 9:30. Let's bring him out. He is the co-host of What's Up, Cousin. They'll be on later tonight. He is also a referee, and he's a good friend of the program. Guys, you can find him on Twitter at JCoyden. That's JAYCOYDEN. Let's bring him out, Jason Palmer. Jason, what's up, Papa? How are you?
Hey, good morning, man. Me and Joseph doing a little switch, a little Crusader switch on you this morning.
Yo, switcheroo.
Doing a little switcheroo on you. I'm going to jump on and do this half hour with you. Boy, it was a rough weekend. Jeez.
Yeah, it was. And that was the first top of the morning topic was the bullpen. And you know what? I don't know if you caught my little rant right before the break, but the thing that pisses me off is like the White Sox act like they've done some shit. All right, and you haven't done anything. Okay, you haven't won a goddamn thing. Okay, you won a batting title, Tim Anderson, great. You won a Silver Slugger, you won a Gold Glove, you won MVP. We won all these beautiful individual things, and that's great. But that doesn't mean jack shit when it comes to the team effort. And right now, I feel that they don't have the eye of the tiger. Again, I'm dating myself, but I don't feel that they are all locked in. I think they are all enjoying their press clippings. I think they're all enjoying the big contracts that they have, the generational wealth that they have. And I don't see a team that's hungry. I don't see a team that looks at whoever comes out and say, I'm going to destroy you today. We saw, and for those of you who are of our age or may have seen the movie, you saw when Clubber Lang was fighting to the top to get to Rocky. You saw he was destroying everybody. I'm talking leaving no doubt. I mean, he was punching guys through the ropes. Okay. And people were trying to interview him and he was like, leave me alone. I'm not done. Basically I'm not done yet. I'm not where I want to get to. And that's the attitude that this White Sox team needs to have. You're not done yet. You're not where you want to be, because where you want to be is hoisting that trophy in October or November. All right. And be the last team standing, win the last game of the Major League Baseball season. And they don't have that focus. They don't have that desire. They don't have that energy right now. And it's bothering me.
Well, I agree with that. I think one of the drawbacks of doing what Rick Hahn did was that he signed a lot of their top players to kind of long-term contracts, which was financially friendly for the team. But I also agree that when you give people too much before they've earned anything, you relax a little bit. It's just the nature of human beings. If we don't have to really work as hard for it, okay, you're going to kind of take it for granted. I do think that is playing somewhat of a role, but I think the other two major factors that are really hurting this team right now is that they're playing without their leader. Tim Anderson is the leader on that team. Tim is the one that makes them go. Tim is the one that's going to ball out regardless of what his contract says. He is the one that can push them forward. The key to me was when Luis Robert did what he did earlier this year and called Tim off, and then that ball cracked him upside his head and he missed it out there in Anaheim. You could tell Tim wasn't happy, and he gave Luis, a little piece of his mind about that. And Luis has been a little bit more focused since then. I think they're missing Tim, who's out hurt. And I didn't care what anybody said. Not having Eloy in that 4 spot is hurting the offense. It's a bat that you would fear to pitch to. And, I said it on my show. I've said it on a lot of other places that's going to hurt the White Sox more than people think, because Yohan Moncada is not a 4-hitter.
Nope.
Never has been, never will be. And when he gets in a slump, you can see it in his eyes and his
body language,
everything.
Yep.
You've coached players like that. I have. And he just goes into this dark place, and it's hard to pull him out. And what is happening is it's affecting his defense. That error he had yesterday, that was an easy ground ball. And not only after he missed it initially, but he then kicked it again. Then it just seemed like he kind of gave up on the play. And I'm like, dude, that's a catcher running. You could take all day and still probably gun him down. But I didn't see that effort from him. And I think that's what's really hurting the White Sox right now. Those 3 things. You don't have Anderson. You don't have Eloy. And I think some of these guys have gotten a little comfortable, because they've gotten the money up front. It's kind of like paying a contractor to come in your house, Shawn, and we've all done that. You give them the money up front
beforehand,
right? And then they take 7 months to complete a project they said was going to take 6.
Hey, Jason, before you all switch to my team, because we got our own issues, but with what you just said, the focus, like the want, like a play like that, you kind of almost have to question where their mindset is at. You know what I mean? Like you gave up on a play where you could have still had an out. You know what I mean? Like you're supposed to be challenging for a World Series. World Series teams don't do that type of shit. And I understand that they're a young team, but does that play a fact? Is their mind in the right place? Because like a guy like Yohan, you're up for this. Like you're happy and smiling for this, but when it comes down to baseball, do you even want to play baseball anymore?
Yeah, I think, Yohan's offense is starting to affect his defense. He's starting to take it out into the field. Yep. And this guy is a Gold Glove fielder. He's a hell of a third baseman. But I think he's focusing too much on his offense and the struggles. Yep. And one of the things I've actually also questioned is, does he still need to be a switch hitter? Should he just bat from the left-hand side? Because from the right-hand side, his average drops off tremendously, when he's batting from the right side. But, I just think they have some issues they need to work through. I think it'll get better when Tim get back. I think it'll also get better when Adam Engel gets back. Adam is one of them gamers, man. And the problem right now is I think the White Sox have a lot of talent. They don't have a lot of gamers. And the 2 gamers that I basically see, I see them having 3, Adam Engel, Tim Anderson, they're both out. And then Michael Kopech is the gamer on the pitching staff, and he is doing his job.
And then some. That dude he's been fire. He's been locked in, and it's been great to see. He's got a presence, Jason, on when he gets on the mound. That's becoming of a 6, 8, 10-year vet. Okay, there's a calmness about him. There's never a moment that's too big for him. There's never a situation or a count that's too big for him. He sits there and he understands pitching. He understands that he's not going to live off his 100-mile-an-hour fastball. And why does he live off it? Because it looks like it. Because he can hit you with a 92-mile-an-hour slider. Because he hits you with a 90-mile-an-hour changeup. That's why and he understands that you're looking for the heater. So I'm going to give you something that's not as fast, but it's got a lot of movement on it, like that slider. Or if you're looking dead red, I'm going to take even more off it on my changeup, get you an 88-mile-an-hour slider, and you're looking at 100. You're expecting a 100-mile-an-hour fastball, and you could swing, come back and swing again, and still maybe not be able to hit this fastball. Okay, I mean this changeup because of the speed and the changing of speeds, and he understands that. He's been phenomenal to this point. I love the fact that he's in the bullpen. Keep him there all year for me. I think next year will be good. You can put him in the starting role. But I agree with you on the Tim Anderson thing. He is that dude. He is that dude. And Tim will say something to Lewis, to Mr. Robert, and I'm sure he did when it bounced off his head. And he, he's not there, and it's tough. It's really, really tough. And they said it. I believe Rick Hahn said maybe the next homestand he'll be back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we have a little while to wait. Adam Engel's another story. And I'll tell you what, I was waiting for Adam Engel to take over that left field job.
Yeah.
I was waiting for him to take over that left field job.
Yeah.
And, I really was. And that just hurt him. But you know what? The silver lining in this cloud, Jason, the silver lining in this cloud is happening early.
Yeah.
It's happening early.
It is. But they gotta go to the wizard and tell the Tin Man he needs some heart, because I think a lot of this is just they ain't playing with no heart. And again, the Eloy injury is looming big, and that was an injury that did not need to happen, and that was all on Eloy. So it is what it is, man. But hey, let's talk Cubs.
Well, the next top of the morning topic is Cubs. The Cubs get blown out by the Pirates 7-1. Trevor Williams goes 3 1/3, 10 hits, 5 runs, all earned, 2 walks, 3 Ks. The situation is the same as it's been for since Theo said their offense was broke. The issue is their offense is broke.
Yeah, you're not putting up runs against the Pirates. That's a problem. You losing the series to Pittsburgh. That's an issue. Don't get me wrong. I mean, the White Sox were 1 for 27 yesterday with runners on base. So you can say that offense was broke yesterday too. But the Cubs, we've seen this now over the course of like 3 seasons. And again, it's got to be Rizzo and Bryant and Baez that have to lead this offense, man. They've got to lead them. And, one thing I know about, playing baseball most of my career is that you can put a team in an offensive slump. It is really weird. If a couple of your main guys start going into a slump, it can really start affecting the rest of the lineup. Just like is when a couple of guys get hot, everybody else gets more confidence, start hitting the ball. We knew the pitching for the Cubs was going to be a little suspect coming into this season. But you were hoping with some of the changes that they made that the offense would hit the ball. But, you got Hayward and these guys, they're struggling once again. And I don't really know how to fix that if you're the Cubs, with the exception of just doing a complete, absolute tear down and rebuild, which may be what they end up doing at the end of this season. I think the indicator of that would be if they do a trade with Chris Bryant before the trade deadline, which we know could happen because he's not happy with his contract too. But it's pretty bad when you're not scoring against Pittsburgh.
Yeah, they're the bottom feeders in the league, and you can't beat those. You can't beat those guys. You can't score a run. Not even beating us. Score runs. Mm-hmm. Get some runs, and that's an issue. And the problem is that if you didn't have enough firepower to score runs, you can say, okay, well, we don't have this guy, we don't have that guy, we don't have a lot of power, we don't have a lot of ballers. You have the team. You have plenty of players. You have 5 guys who have been an MVP or been in the MVP conversation that are starting, and to not be able to score runs is a big issue. And this is not something new. Theo said it years ago. This offense is broke. Why they can't get back on the same page? And truthfully, I'll tell you this. When Chris Bryant got hit in the head, that fucked him up for good. I guarantee it. I can guarantee it, dude. That's it, man.
It messed him up. It messed him up. But I would say this: Chris Bryant looks pretty good right now. Chris Bryant looks like looks comfortable at the plate. He's been playing and hitting the ball rather well. It's just it's no matter what. It's one guy's playing well, the other guys are not playing well. The offense is still not producing runs. That's the issue. It doesn't matter who's playing well at the moment. The offense still can't produce runs. So for me, it's like, we're going along the lines of, like Jason said, the only thing you could do next is tear it down. And I think they'll start tearing it down about mid-season, because you got a Reds team that's scoring at a high clip. You got a Cardinals team that's really good. You got a Brewers team that's pissed off that everybody wrote them off, and they're here to play. So now you got 4 contenders in that division coming for your throat. And I just don't know if you have the firepower right now. You definitely don't have the runs.
I mean, Chris Bryant's averaging 230. His average is 233 right now. He's got the 1 homer that he just hit the other day. A couple of ribbies, four ribbies. I'm telling you, my personal opinion is that I don't know if he'll ever get back to that Chris Bryant that we know in 15 and 16. I think that hit to the head really did a number on him. That's my own personal opinion. And it's tough, man, especially when you know, what if someone gives you some some chin music, okay? All of a sudden now you're thinking, oh shit, man, that was close. That's very close to, and all of a sudden you start thinking back to when you did get hit. It's just, for me, I think that's my take on it. I think it still lingers in his brain, in his mind, and I hope he can stay healthy, because as long as he doesn't get any chin music, any high heat, I think he can be okay. Okay, but once you throw him in, or God forbid he gets hit in the head again this year, I don't give a damn if it's a curveball, okay, or a changeup. You get hit in the head, you get hit in the head, and if he, I'm praying that it doesn't happen to him again this year. But if it does, then I would literally say he's done, and you need to trade him immediately.
Well, when you look at the stats too, Ivan, Baez is leading them in batting average at 242. He's leading them in home runs with 3. He's leading them in runs batted in with 6, and he's leading them with stolen bases with 3. I mean, and that's the leader. Those are some harsh numbers to look at, weekend of the season. I mean, Abreu's got 2 grand slams, for Christ's sake. He's got 8 RBIs. So, I mean, it's just their offense is it's hard to watch, man. It's hard to watch. I really wanted to see a Cubs White Sox World Series at some point in my lifetime, and I just don't see it happening this year.
Not this year.
Look, Charles John Ritchie says this: only week 1 into the season is not post All-Star break. It's not that, dude. Here's the issue. When you come out, you need to have a good season. Okay, you can't come out stumbling out of the blocks. It's a marathon. I know you can make it up at the end, but you need to come out. You need to show that you're focused. Okay, you need to show I expected the Cubs to come out because everybody had written them off and talk shit about them all off season. The Brewers are going to come back. The Cardinals, everybody but the Cubs, and I figured they would come back and come out strong. Okay, my White Sox, same thing. There's a lot of pressure on you. They didn't come out strong. Neither did the Cubs. Neither team has that eye of the tiger that they're trying to get to that World Series and hoist that trophy. They don't have that mentality. I see it in their faces. I see it in their play. I see it in their body language. Okay, and that to me is the issue. If they're coming out and then they had all that, the proper, they had good body language. They're hustling. They're stealing bases. They're getting runners in, and they still lose. I'm like, I would say don't worry about it, because it's going to fall their way. But they're not having that attitude. The Cubs have won, and some of them have rested on their laurels, and some of them are maybe a little injured and scared. Some of them, the pitching is going to affect you a lot, okay? But I don't see it as a whole. As a team, I don't see it. And on the South side, the same thing. As a whole, the team just don't see it.
I'll say this even to that, and for a Cubs perspective, it's only week 1, yes. But, we've seen this for how many years now? It's week 1 of another year. Week 1 of another year, and the same type of shit is going on. That's where the frustration lies.
Right. I mean, you have to beat the Pirates and the Royals. I don't care if it's in April or in July. Those are 2 terrible teams. And just in general, I mean, the Bulls, they lost to the freaking Timberwolves. The Blackhawks. All right, I'll leave that alone. All right. It was just bad, man. I mean, you have to beat bad teams is my point. You got to beat the bad teams.
It is. And the next top of the morning topic, speaking of a bottom feeder, the Bulls fall to the Timberwolves, who've only won 14 games now. Thank you, Chicago Bulls. They fall to the lowly T-Wolves, 121-117. Zach LaVine led the Bulls with 30.7 rips. Vooch. He gave us 18. Troy Brown Jr. Woo, Charlie. He gave us 15 points. Thies with 13. Kobe White with 11. And Karl Anthony Towns led the way for the Minnesota Timberwolves, 27 points, 12 boards. Jason, talk to another team that gets beat by a bottom feeder.
The Bulls are the biggest roller coaster in Chicago sports right now, without a doubt. We see the potential of this team, and we know they're a young team. They have talent, but you can't be losing to Minnesota, man. You cannot lose to the Timberwolves, man.
No.
After you go out and you beat Brooklyn, granted they didn't have, two of their star players, they still had enough to beat you. You go out, you beat them, and then you come and you stink up the joint against Minnesota. The Bulls have got to be more frustrating right now. I had them going to the playoffs when the season started, and I had them going as perhaps a 6th seed, which could still happen, but they are so on and off that it is amazing, man. And I just don't get it. The game, you lose to Atlanta after Zach LaVine puts up 50. Jesus, man, what are they doing? And when I talk to Lance, he says this is all indications of a very young team. So I'm going to kind of roll with that, but it is really hard to watch these guys.
Yeah, I mean, you and he's right. You got Patrick Williams, who's a stud, but he's a rookie. He's 19 years old. You got Kobe White, who's 20 years old. You got Larry Market, who's like 22, 23 years old. Okay, and he hasn't played a full season probably since his first season, so he really he's not even a KG vet after 3 or 4 years in the league. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So these guys are still young. They're untested in the NBA. Some are barely even tested in college.
True.
So I mean, Patrick Williams didn't even go to the tournament last year, okay, because of COVID. So he had a regular season and that's it. And as well as I do, Jay, the NCAA tournament, just like any other playoff scenario, whether it be baseball, football, basketball, hockey, soccer, track, when it's elimination, that intensity is amped up by 100, 1,000, 1,000,000. And you don't understand how that it gets amped up if you don't go through it. And he's one guy who didn't go through it. Okay. And so I still think he's going to be great, but it's going to take a little more time, which is why for me, I'm not a big fan of the one and done. Don't get me wrong. It's great. You go, you make generational wealth, your family changes and everything. Great. But why not stay for the teaching? And here's why I think the Bulls are going to be so much better is because now they have a player development department. So they're going to work with you like you were in college. They're going to work with you on the fundamentals because you don't have them because you're coming out of AAU in high school where you're the best team. AAU doesn't play defense. High school, you're the best guy, so they just ask you to score, okay? And not play. If you play defense, great. If not, okay, just outscore them.
Right.
But there's fundamentals. Now you have to play defense in the NBA, or maybe you don't. I think you do because when you can lock people down and you can get them to take crazy shots at the end of the shot clock, that's beneficial to you and your team because now they're not getting quality shots. And I just think that they're a very young team that's still trying to figure it out. They're trying to figure out their new coach. Their new coach is trying to figure them out. They're still trying to figure out Vucevic. Vucevic is trying to figure them out. Vucevic is trying to figure Donovan out. Donovan is trying to figure out this new piece. There's just a lot of moving parts here for this Bulls team, and they don't really have time to practice.
Well, and another problem too is I think you hit it on the head. A lot of these guys have not received coaching.
Say it again, Jay.
Coaching because of what you said. You're not really getting coached on the AAU team because that's more of a showcase. You're not being coached in high school, or the level of coaching you're receiving in high school may not be strong fundamental coaching, especially if you're the best player on the team. In high school, they just going to give you the ball and tell everybody else to get out the way. Then you go to college where you could get some coaching, but you leave after a year. Okay, well, now we're seeing that. And this is the problem I think the NBA is having in general, that they've got too many guys coming into the league who don't have coaching and fundamental skills. And, when you put a bunch of those guys together, as the Bulls have, this is what you've got. Now, I think Billy Donovan and Mo Cheeks and the rest of those guys are hellified coaches, but it's going to take them probably a couple of years to get these guys where they need them to be. Lauri Markkanen, though, is just a case study that I cannot understand. And that's why I'm in favor of shipping him away. You would think putting him on the bench would fire him up, but it kind of seems as though it's done the opposite effect in some ways. So the Bulls, they're going to be frustrating, as Lance said, because they're such a young team. And I am trying to be patient with them, but it is extremely hard when you are losing to the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Dude, tell me about it. freaking tell me about it. Well, real quick, last top of the morning topic. Hideki Matsuyama wins the Masters, the 2021 Masters, becoming the first Japanese-born player to win at Augusta.
I did not see the tournament. I was busy this weekend, but it's good to see history being made. It's really good to see history being made. I think golf as a sport has slowly opened up to people of different races and ethnicities. And, this is 2021 history at its finest. The ratings are never going to be as good when Tiger isn't playing, but Tiger may not ever play again. So golf is going to have their own little problems dealing with how they're going to get viewership going forward. So you're going to need young people like him stepping up and starting to make names for themselves. I know they were dealing with some rain on one of the days, but Augusta is still Augusta, and the green jacket is still the green jacket. It's still the most prestigious of the golf tournaments. So it was good to see some history being made there, and I'm very interested to see what is going to be served at the Masters dinner next year. That's the one thing I think that is very nice and unique about that tournament is that the winner the previous year gets to pick the dinner. So this will be interesting. I'm all for diversity and inclusion and different cultures playing in all sports. So this is I think this could be big for golf because we see what has happened when people from Japanese backgrounds have come into baseball. I mean, Ichiro,
man, revolutionized.
Oh my God.
Charlie.
What did he do? What did Yao Ming do when he was in the NBA? That's why the NBA has a big following in China to this day. So I think it's good for the sport of golf in general, and that you've now opened it up to perhaps a whole new fan base that you can go after. So it's big for golf. It's big for the young man. Congratulations to him.
Yep, it is. Listen, we got to take a quick break. And on the other side of the break, we're going to switch gears. We're going to go back to White Sox talk. Our next guest is Josh Nelson from Sox Machine, SoxMachine.com. He's a host of the Sox Machine podcast. So we're definitely going to sit down and talk with him, and we're going to find out what his take is on all these freaking issues with these Chicago White Sox. Hey, Jay, boss, I appreciate you jumping in on the 9:30 from 9:30 to 10, man. I appreciate it. In fact, I felt a little lonely. I was like, I felt a little lonely. So, yeah.
Yeah, no problem, man. I'll be checking out the rest of the show. I definitely want to hear from Josh, and I definitely hear my guy Xavier Pope. He and I chat on Twitter a lot, so I definitely want to hear his thoughts as well. And everybody remember, tune in tonight at 6 o'clock. What's up, cuz? Tonight we have USA water polo women's goalkeeper Ashley Johnson, and we have the tallest bodybuilder in the world.
I saw that, dude. What the hell?
We got Ayende Avery, who is 6'9". Used to play basketball at DePaul, and he's from Chicago. He's a 6'9" bodybuilder. So he's going to be on our show tonight. So check us out from 6 to 8. What's up, cuz?
Great stuff, buddy. Great stuff. I appreciate it. All right, bro. We'll catch you later, all right?
All right, take care.
All right, now. Guys, that was Jason Palmer from the Chicago Crusader newspaper, also a sports referee. And, man, make sure you check out his show tonight. What's up, cuz? It's going to be a good one. When I saw a 6'8" bodybuilder, I'm like, here's the thing. When you're that big, it takes a lot to build muscle, okay? And when you're long and your muscles are longer, it takes a lot more. To be a bodybuilder is crazy, okay? And to put all that mass on. But to put a mass on a frame that's 6'9", 6'10", 6'12", that's insane. That is freaking insane. Well, listen, we got to take a quick break. So on the other side of the break, we're going to switch gears and we're going to talk a little baseball. So don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
Get out while you can. Don't get a sucker no statue. Give him guts. I told you I wasn't going away. You got your shot. Now give me mine. Why don't you get the hell out of there? Shut up, old man. I ain't going nowhere.
AutomotiveMap.com presents the Sports Flash on 1330 and 95.9 The Zone.
Back in the 8th inning with a base hit. He's going to square the bunt. He's going to drag him up right side of the pitcher. He throws home. He gets away from the catcher. Taylor scores, and the Royals take the lead here in the 10th inning.
The call on Royals radio as Kansas City rallied past the White Sox for a 4-3 10-inning win on Sunday. Michael Taylor opened the 10th on second base and advanced on Nicky Lopez's sack. Whit Merrifield was walked intentionally. Then Andrew Benintendi bunted the ball right back to the mound. The Cubs got drilled 7-1 against Pittsburgh. JT Brubaker pitched into the 6th and had the first 3 RBI of his career in the win. NHL tonight, the Blackhawks visit the Blue Jackets. Chicago coming off a 4-3 win at Columbus on Saturday. NBA Sunday, the T-Wolves 121-117 over the Bulls. Chuck Sanders, that's the Sports Flash, 1330 95.9 The Zone.
To all you do-it-yourselfers, get ready to welcome Fram into the fam. Because America's #1 oil filter brand now has their own new line of motor oil and fluids. And it's only at Advance and CarQuest Auto Parts. Stop into Advance and choose from 4 new Fram oil change bundles starting at just $20.99. They have the oil and filters you need to keep your engine running stronger, longer. Advance your auto at Advance Auto Parts and participating CarQuest locations. See store for details.
I'm Dr. Baker, an ER physician. If you're having leg pain, swelling, or redness, but haven't talked to your doctor yet, don't wait. This could be deep vein thrombosis, a blood clot which could travel to your lungs and lead to a pulmonary embolism, which could cause chest pain or discomfort or difficulty breathing and be deadly. Your symptoms could mean something serious, so don't wait. Talk to a doctor right away, by phone, online, or in person.
Brought to you by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Whoa, welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning at SportsZone Chicago. It's good to have it. Let's bring out my guy, dude, man. He's the host of That Davis Show and the new, I think I'm going to say it just forever. It might be like 2 years down the road. I'm going to, and new host of the Under Center podcast. He is our guy. You can find him on Twitter at That's Davis. Guys, let's bring him out. Ken Davis. Ken, what's up, Papa? How are you?
All right, Ivan. With little Barry White, I feel you. You guys got me with that one. I appreciate. Oh man. I'm happy. Thank you. You know what? I appreciate that. Because, and I'll say this real quick. Get into it. I know we got to get into the Sox. We got our guy Nelson joining us. I've been to a ton of Sox games that went into extra innings, and I've only been to one that they actually won. So anytime the Sox go into extra innings, I don't feel confident because I've always been there and they've lost. Man, I hate wasting my time watching extra inning games and my team loses, man. It just, especially that was a long game anyway yesterday. I can't stand it, but yeah, I know we got to dive into it. But thanks, you guys. That was hilarious.
he goes, what was the conversation? He said something about Ivan. He's like, yeah, about Kenneth's intro. I'm like, you got an intro for Ken? He's like, oh yeah, I forgot. What happened was I forgot to tell you I got an intro for Ken.
Thanks, Ivan. You guys are crazy.
Dude, that was
boys. A man's Monday. Y'all make a man's Monday pop.
Yeah. When he said it to me, I was like, dude, it couldn't have been any more perfect. We love it, man. We love it. Hey, thanks for tuning in, for joining us, man. It's good stuff, man. But man, talk to me real quick, dude, before we get to hop on with Josh.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me, dude. Talk to me. What this, you know what? It's really bothersome. You know,
as far as what's bothering you so far this early in the season, Shawn?
And what's bothering me is I don't see the eye of the tiger. Okay, and I'm dating myself
last week.
Yeah, and I'm still not seeing it. Okay, I'm still not seeing it. So Liam Hendricks decides to blow the save yesterday. Okay, and then I don't give it so much. I mean, Garrett Crochet gets the loss in the 10th. Okay, but don't forget, now you started a runner on second. Okay, they bunt the ball. You know, they should do a lot more of that in a lot more fielding of that in spring training. But still, you start with a guy in second. Come on, it's tough.
Right.
But I don't see it as if. And before you're right there before the break, I think. And Ivan did a phenomenal setup where he said we had Clubber Lang, Mr. T in Rocky 3, where he was like, "You think you're bad? Why you stepping out while you can?" In Rocky 3, Clubber Lang.
Getting out while you can. Don't get a sucker no statue. Give him guts. I told you I wasn't going away. You got your shot. Now give me mine. Why don't you get the hell out of there? Shut up, old man. I ain't going nowhere.
See, and that's what I'm talking about. That attitude where I'm going to destroy everybody in my path to get what I want. I don't see that from them. Okay. And you can have fun. You can smile and do it the whole night, but behind you, there's got to be a burning desire that there's nothing going to stop me and us. And everybody has to have that desire. There's nothing that's going to stop us from the ultimate goal, and that's the World Series. And I don't see that from everybody. Okay. I see it from Tim Anderson. I'll say Abreu's just going to be Abreu. He's like, I'm just going to hit, I'm going to give you MVP numbers every year. Period. If I win it, fine. If I don't, fine too. You know what I mean? He's going to give it to you, and he comes up clutch. But I'm not seeing it from other people, and that's what's bothering me, dude. That's what's bothering, because you haven't done shit. You haven't done anything. We got to the playoffs and lost in the first round, and that's what bugs me. Like, and I said earlier, if I saw that, and they're still losing games, I'd be like, look, don't trip. Don't trip. If I saw that eye of the tiger and they were losing games, close ones, okay, it's going to change because they're approaching the game the right way. They have the right mentality going into games. It just wasn't working at this particular point, but I'm not seeing that. And that's what bugs me.
Let me play devil's advocate to that, because maybe it's a situation where, right now they're basically a 500 team, a little bit below 500, but a 500 team.
Mm-hmm.
Early in the season, and they're still adjusting to new hitting coach, new backstop coach. They never have new pitching coach, Antonio La Russa. So I think it's a feeling out process. And I'll push back and say this. Look at all the walks so far this season. All right. And you could say, well, they're not being aggressive, but also they just may be being wise. Look at Mercedes walking yesterday. And you look at a DH like that, you would think he wants to get up there and swing. So I think we just have to wait a second, like we were talking about last week, because I don't think guys were messing up because of a lack of an edge. I think guys are messing up because they're adjusting, and it's early on in the season. Garrett Crochet, look, Ozzie gave up a good reason as far as length and coming downhill when he sat there and threw the ball off of it looked like the front of the mound, the back of the mound or whatever. Listen, do I want to see my team do it, especially against Kansas City? Like, the last thing I'll say this to jump off of the devil's advocate platform, the last thing you want to see is your team losing against a team that, when your team has been good in the past and that team has been bad, they always had your number, because that makes it the part of this division where you thought you were going to get some cakewalks seem like, so it makes even the Twins and Cleveland games even more important, because you're looking at, you think you're going to get easy games from Detroit. You think you're going to get easy games from KC. But I mean, to me, I feel better about this series than I felt about the Seattle series. And the Seattle series was a bunch of mind cramps. But I'm still looking at it being early in the season. I'll say this too, with hope. Without Eloy and Tim Anderson there, and looking at Engel being out, and we don't look at Engel as necessarily being a bopper, but we know defensively, and he can run into one. Without having those guys there, I would look at this offense and really be like, man, this offense is going to suck. I'd look at this offense and look at what guys are trying to do. You know what I'm saying? Danny Mendick, Yerman Mercedes, even little Slappy Nick Magical, and then putting that on top of Yohan, Jose, and Lou Bob, and if Lou Bob can really get it, I'm not worried. I'm not worried. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not worried, Ken. I'm annoyed because, you know what? Being a former athlete in situations like this, when it was our time and we knew it was our year, like, everybody, dude, everybody was on one page. Everybody came when I went to the Thunder in 2005. Okay.
Where's the Thunder? Where's this team play at? Because I got to know if we're in Italy or not before you start the story.
No,
are we in Italy?
It's not
Italian Shawn. Okay, it's not Italian Shawn. Let me know if it's Italian Shawn. All right. Go ahead.
Even my Italy team, but when I came back the second year. But anyway, there were 40-something, almost 50 guys at practice, okay, which is crazy for a semi-pro team. And we were there an hour early.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and we're doing footwork drills, we're doing speed drills, we're doing jumping, all this before practice. Okay, because everybody was on that same page. We're all on that same shit. All right, like we're tight. It's title or bust for us. Period. Okay, and that's the mindset that we had. I don't see that with these guys, and that's what's bothering me. Like I said, if you're coming out and you have that mindset and you lose a couple games, I get it, because it's not the result, it's the process. It's the process. You put in the work, you follow that process, the results will take care of themselves. You can't win every game. I don't know if has there ever been a team that won 162-0? I don't know. I mean, Ivan, can you check that?
And I'll tell you this: if there was, especially let's go like in the modern era. Let's say this in the modern era. If there was, they had the dumbest manager ever, because why was you sending everybody out there all the time, Cal Ripken-esque, selfishly, when your guys needed a break? You could have lost 20 games and had your guys ready for the postseason. Let me ask you this though, Shawn. When it comes to when you're with the Thunder, or even when you were Italian Shawn, how often during the process did you have to do it with the new head coach? Because these guys are used to how they were coached in the past. You know what I'm saying? They know. Think about the energy, and what Tim Anderson isn't playing. All right, but think about the energy they had last year. You know what I'm saying? Where you could feel, even when the stadium was empty, you could feel the amount of energy that was in that dugout. And I think slightly too the fact that they aren't seeing the results, because when Adam Eaton hooked that one, right? They were pumped. You know what I'm saying? Like when he hooked out, you could tell the team's like, yeah, let's go. They haven't gotten enough of that. Plus, again, I look at it as the fact of a new manager, and they're both still feeling each other out. You know, like you had your processes for the last 4 or 5 years. You know what I'm saying? You had your processes. You know what I'm saying? And actually, the processes were starting to come to fruition, because 2 years ago, you didn't know if those processes were working. It's the in-game coaching that got you messed up. But as far as the processes is getting ready for the season, it was down pat. And now everything's kind of been changed. I mean, you're talking about Coop's going too. Like everything's been changed. So I got to take a wait and see approach right now before, like if we're at the end of May, if it still looks like they don't have an edge, and I'll give you that too. If they don't start to have an edge by June, and it's still early in the season, we know in baseball a team can get hot in June. That was
cold in Chicago.
That's at the bottom of the division and take off, and you have the best record at the end of the year. But if around June time you don't see the edge, and they have majority of their players back except Eloy, then yeah, I'm going to definitely be concerned. But again, even if let's just say they don't play hot majority of the season but make it to the playoffs and then do their thing, it's kind of baseball. But we got to see. I mean, you got a manager that hasn't been out there in 11 years. You know, you got a pitching coach that, listen, regardless of how smart he was and becoming part of the Giants pitching staff, he's never been the man when it comes to being a pitching coach. You know, like this is a lot of other arms under him. We know that he trains guys in the offseason and stuff like that. That's not the same as every day being on top of a bullpen and a rotation. You know, so I'm taking a wait and see approach. And again, we always say this we weren't comfortable. We didn't necessarily like the hire. It's Tony La Russa, and I think Tony's trying to figure everything out. It seems like it's going to come together. And that could be Sox hope, but usually I'll say that it's been an abusive relationship, and now I'll look at it in a dire situation. And I'm not going to look at it in a dire situation, because I'll say this about this series: that the hitting. Wait, there's some points to point out. The hitting has progressed. All right, guys that you didn't look at as being guys are doing well. And listen, Zach Collins did a hell of a job at backstop yesterday. And when would we ever think that about Zach Collins in our lifetime, that he could be a decent backstop? We knew he had a bat, but he stopped a lot of balls yesterday, you know. So I mean, I'm gonna look at it with a glass half full approach than the glass half empty.
All right, listen. Well, we're gonna find what this guy, how this guy's gonna look at it. Is it a half full or half empty glass? Guy, he's the he's the host of the Sox Machine podcast. He's a good friend of the program. You can find him on Twitter at SoxMachine_Josh. Guys, let's bring him out. Let's welcome back to Shawn and Maya, Josh Nelson. Josh, what's up, Papa? How are you?
I am doing well, guys. Thank you so much for having me on again.
Hey, our pleasure, man. Our pleasure. So you heard a little bit of our bickering and bitching back and forth. I'm not happy with the White Sox right now. Give me your thoughts, dude. And here, let me just tell you why I'm not happy. You know, and you may have caught it when you were in the green room. Is I just don't see that desire right now. I don't just see that desire. I don't see that desire to say, "Hey, we haven't done shit. Okay, we haven't won a playoff series. We're talking about World Series." I'm not seeing the desire. I'm seeing too many freaking errors. I'm seeing too many blown saves, too many blown leads. And I wanted them to start off in I'm not sure. I don't remember how old you are, but in Rocky 3, and I've been played it before. And if you remember Clubber Lang, when he was trying to get up to Rocky, he was destroying everybody. Okay. He was punching mugs through the ropes. Okay. They're going out. He's punching them between the ropes. He's leaning out of the ring, just punching them. But he had that mentality that, look, there's nothing going to stop me from getting to where I want to go. And I don't see that with the White Sox, and that's what bothers me. Give me your thoughts on this to this point.
Well, Shawn, it's early. It's only 9 games.
Right.
The only thing that's concerning for me at this moment is that we really hyped up this bullpen to be a special unit, and they have already blown 3 games where the White Sox had the lead in the 8th inning or later. And that's not what elite bullpens do. And we even look back when the Kansas City Royals, when we talk about teams that their biggest strength is their bullpen, we go back to the 2014 and 2015 Kansas City Royals. That's a big part of why they won back-to-back American League pennants and why they won the World Series in 2015 is because after the 5th inning, if you didn't have the lead against Kansas City, you were going to lose. They were 82-1. 82-1 when they had a lead after the 6th inning. Wow. And the White Sox bullpen in 2021 has already cost 3 games in 9 games. If they performed at the level that we hyped him up to be, specifically Aaron Bummer and Liam Hendricks, then we're talking about a 7-2 Chicago White Sox team, Shawn. And then you're not concerned. You're not saying things like, "Oh, I'm worried about the desire." You're going to be bringing me on and be like, "We're going to the World Series, baby." It is early, but right now, I think there is a moment within the bullpen, specifically this unit, where somebody has to step up and just look each other in the eye and say, the way that we have pitched these 9 games is unacceptable. The only one that has been impressive is Michael Kopech. Everybody else.
And then some, dude. And then some. My God.
Everyone else, there are concerns. I mean, Garrett Crochet has a pretty high walk rate. And I don't know what that throw to home plate was yesterday. Liam Hendricks only gave up 1 home run in all of 2020. He's already given up 2 home runs. Aaron Bummer has problems with lefties. That is unacceptable. And we are not quite sure if Matt Foster and Evan Marshall are regressing. 85% of the base runners that Matt Foster has inherited have scored. That will not keep you in the major leagues at all. So again, the bullpen hasn't been performing well. And I know a lot of White Sox fans and pundits keep putting pressure on the starting pitching staff. Well, they need to go deeper into games. This is the start of a 162 game marathon. Starting rotations rarely go deep. It is rare to see someone like Lance Lynn throw a complete game shutout, or Joe Musgrove of San Diego to throw a no-hitter this early into the season because they're trying to ramp up their workload. They're not throwing 100 pitches in spring training. They need the first month of the season to get to that type of workload. So teams have to rely on their bullpen more often at the beginning of the season, hoping going to May and June that the starting pitching staff could take on 6 to 7 innings of every single game. And the White Sox need their bullpen. They're going to really need their bullpen these next 4 games against Cleveland because these are going to be more low-scoring affairs. And if this White Sox bullpen cannot protect a 1-run lead going into the 7th inning, then the White Sox are going to have problems. And there are going to be some big questions that they're going to have to answer in June if they are still within shouting distance of the Minnesota Twins in the American League Central.
Listen, the funny thing too, do you know how fans would be complaining? I know Lance Lynn didn't throw a lot of pitches in that shutout, but if he got hurt, if he got hurt a game or two after, people would be like, why did you have him doing that? Like, just people would be so upset that you had him at the beginning of the season. Like I was saying, to me, it's Josh, it's just relax. And like you pointed out, the bullpen has been the biggest question mark. I don't look at the everyday players as being the question marks. In some ways, outside of the errors, but when it comes to at bats, I'm somewhat pleased with the everyday players because I didn't expect that Danny Mendick, definitely Yerman Mercedes, Adam Eden. You know, I didn't expect this right now. I thought it was going to be like you just said about this series going in with Cleveland, that it was going to be a tad bit low scoring. But I kind of feel better about the process because I feel like, and we're all Sox fans, and we know usually you don't get players that are dynamic. Usually it's a softball guy, it's a fast guy, you know. But and I'm not saying that these guys are 5 tool guys, but these guys are like 3 tool guys that you weren't expecting an extra tool from right now, with Eloy being out and Timmy being out. So when it comes to the hitting, how do you feel about the Sox hitting so far this season?
Well, I'm glad you brought up as far as the depth, because through the first 9 games of the season, the depth has been stepping up well for the Chicago White Sox. I mean, the question was when Eloy got hurt and then we got the news that he's going to miss most of the season, who is going to fill in the offensive void with him being out? And Yerman Mercedes has stepped up huge for the White Sox in the first 9 games. Yeah. Is this going to continue throughout the season? I don't know. Danny Mendick is trying to hold his own offensively while Tim Anderson is out. I think we will get good news later this week that Tim Anderson could be back even for the final game against Cleveland. It is Jackie Robinson Day. That game is incredibly important to Tim Anderson, and he does not want to miss that game. So don't be surprised if he does return for the series finale against Cleveland. But for the offense right now, Jose Abreu could do a little bit more, but he always starts slow. We have gotten a lot of concerning questions about Yohan Moncada. And again, it is early. It is the first 9 games of the season. But you have fans suggesting, is he a fluke? Is he a bust? Is 2019, where he was excellent, is that the outlier season? And what we saw in 2017, 2018, and 2020, that is more like the player that Yohan Moncada is. And I think the good news is we still don't know. We should not go down that path. The bad news is we still don't know. We may have to go down that path if things do not pick up in June and July. So I think it would help alleviate a lot of fears, Kenneth, if Yohan Moncada had a good month where he caught on fire and he recaptured some of the magic that he had in 2019. But it requires him to be different at plate. He is going back to his passive ways. In 2019, he attacked the strike zone earlier in the count. Pitchers were frequently punished on 1-0, 2-0 if they threw a fastball in the strike zone. Moncada right now is more than happy to watch that pitch go for a strike, even though that might be the most hittable pitch that he'll face in the at-bat. He needs to be more aggressive, because if he continues to stay this passive route, Kenneth, yeah, he might have a 340 on base percentage, but I don't think he's going to have an above 500 slugging percentage. And I think he's going to have a batting average below 240, because he's just going to get caught up in these 3-2 counts, and he's not going to have the greatest pitches to make contact on. So I think offensively, if there's one player that you want to pick up their game, it's Yohan Moncada. And I think the best way for him to do that is be more aggressive, because let's face it, this upcoming series, you're going up against Shane Bieber and you're going up against Zach Plesac. These guys rarely give White Sox hitters anything to hit. So if they do make a mistake early in the count, Moncada has to make them pay.
Hey, guys, we're joined by Josh Nelson. He is the host of the Sox Machine podcast, talking White Sox baseball right here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago. But give me your thoughts. I think Yo-Yo needs to get out of that 4 spot. I think I don't see him as a number 4 hitter. I've never seen him as a number 4 hitter. I like him with some protection behind him, like, as last year or in the year before. They had him at the number 2 slot. You got Abreu behind him. You got boppers behind him. I don't like him in the number 4 spot. Give me your thoughts on whether he needs to get out of that 4 spot, or to you, does it even matter?
Well, he's got Yerma Mercedes hitting behind him right now. No pitcher wants to face Yerma Mercedes. So it's not about lineup protection for me when it comes to Yohan Moncada. You can bat him second, you can bat him first, you can bat him ninth. If he's going to remain this passive, he's going to continue to have these struggles. He needs to be more aggressive. So I'm indifferent on where he bats in the lineup. I just need him to really look for the first fastball that will be in the strike zone, identify that pitch, and make good contact. That's what I want to see more from Yohan Moncada in these few weeks.
Real quick, one, it was funny watching that game yesterday, and I thought about Yohan Moncada, but I thought about Benintendi, and I remember the trade and the Sox allegedly wanting him, and I was like, I'm happy we got Moncada, right? Boston, I don't know if you held on to the right guy or not, but I want to ask you about the patience that the other players have shown, because the Sox have had more walks than they've had in the last several seasons as far as early in the season. Now, is it the same with the other players as far as not being aggressive, or are they really just had taken a proper approach when it comes to hitting?
Well, I did a lot of research this morning because when we recorded our show, I was so happy because the White Sox are tied with the Los Angeles Dodgers for the league lead in team walks with 50. And the last time the White Sox as a team finished in the top 10 in walk rates for Major League Baseball was 2007. And the last time they led Major League Baseball in walk rate was 1996. So it's been more than a few seasons since the White Sox have walked this many times. And it's fantastic. But you have a lot of analysts this morning that are looking at strike rates for all pitchers, and we are seeing far more walks across Major League Baseball. I think command is an issue right now for a lot of pitchers starting this season, and I think we're seeing an increase in walks across the league. But the White Sox are taking advantage of it right now. We'll see if command improves throughout the season. But I really hope, Kenneth, this does continue to happen, because the more base runners you get on, whether it's hits or free passes, the more pressure you put on opposing teams, their pitching staff, and their defense. And if there's anything these first 9 games that I hope carries on for the rest of the season, it's the White Sox ability to walk.
Why does it seem like they're always getting rung up by that bullshit low strike or the outside edge of the outside corner? and that's the dude that bugs me. And I know Moncada's been rung up quite a bit, and on a few of them, it's like, dude, it's not a strike. And they're in the thing I get. If he's consistent, if the umpire is consistent with those outside edges or the bottom of the strike zone, okay, then you got to adjust. But when they are inconsistent, now you're screwed, because now you don't know. You're not getting the calls in. I remember it was the other day when Yasmani got rung up on a pitch that was low, and he's arguing. And he was like, "Oh, okay, cool." Hopefully he's not going to argue, because he wanted to make sure he gets that call. Mm-hmm. I just think the umpiring has not been as
early
consistent as I would have liked.
Yeah, and there's ways that they are graded now. There's some great Twitter accounts out there that are visualizing what the umpire called a strike zone and what the actual strike zone is, and the accuracy of the pitch calling that they're making. And I will have to say, Shawn, especially what happened the Philadelphia and Atlanta game last night with the play at the plate with Alec Baum. I would not be surprised with this collective bargaining agreement expiring in December between the players union and the league itself if we have some radical changes to the way games are being umpired in the future. It's not going to happen this year, but don't be surprised if electronic strike zone is coming, in the sense that somebody upstairs is going to buzz the umpire to let them know that pitch was in the strike zone. Now, the umpire has to look at everything else. Was it foul? Was it a foul tip? Is there catcher's interference? Did it actually hit the player? Those are some other things that the umpire behind home plate has to keep an eye on. But don't be surprised in the near future if they're going to wear a buzzer and someone's going to tell them whether or not that pitch was actually in the strike zone.
Wow. Dude, I hope so, dude. That's awesome. Hey, listen, guys, that's Josh Nelson from SoxMachine.com. Hey, great stuff, buddy. I truly appreciate it, man. Thank you for coming on. But do me a favor. Let everyone know where they can find you and your work online.
Yeah, you could follow me on Twitter. I'm at SoxMachine_Josh. Of course, you could read our work at SoxMachine.com. You can listen to our podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, and you can catch our video work as well at YouTube.com/SoxMachine.
Great stuff, buddy. I appreciate it. We'll have you back on soon.
No problem. Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
All right, now. Guys, that was Josh Nelson from SoxMachine.com. I don't know. Maybe it's the coach in me. Maybe it's a coach in me. What's up?
I can't wait to see a player tell an umpire that got buzzed but still called it a strike because he saw it that way and say, listen, MF, I heard it buzzing. I can't wait. I heard it buzz. It was like, I can't wait. Go ahead, Ivan.
Right. No, exactly that, Ken. Like, what about the mistaken call still? What if he sees it or what if it jams or some shit like that?
Right.
No buzz. What
if it malfunctions and it buzzes and it wasn't a strike and it's like it buzzed and he calls it a strike and it was clearly outside because he's having a lazy day and he's like, I'm just gonna go off the like, oh man, I can't wait to see how this works. I can't wait. I mean, I'm sure to bring more accuracy, but still, we know with anything, just like with instant replay. Like, how many times have we saw instant replay and we like, dude, this happened, and they still went back and said that happened. So it's like, listen,
and I know some purists. You're like, overturned.
Right. What? How could you? I know some purists will dislike it, and I can somewhat get it. But to be honest with you, listen, some of those balls, I'm gonna call them balls, they were strikes, and it gets to the point. And listen, I mean, on both sides, I do it with the opponents and with our team or whatever. Some of it's just like, dude, come on. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's no reason to, y'all may as well take the box off the screen and go back to like 5 or 10 years ago, unless it was on Fox, to where we just had to imagine what the umpire strike zone was just from familiarity instead of having a box up there. And I know the ump doesn't necessarily go off of that box, of course, not like you see it, but still, I can't wait, dude. I can't wait for just all this ish to mess up.
And what happens if a player curses, like you said, he curses him out, it was a strikeout, and then it's, to end the game. He rings him up. It's ball 4, but it's a full count. He rings him up and he buzz, and it's it's a strikeout. He gets rung up, and you lose the game, or vice versa. You know what I'm saying?
Will they come out, Shawn? Will the league come out and be like, he got buzzed for that? He still came out with the wrong call. That'd be interesting to see if they put it all the way on the up like that. Like, we told him that was a ball, or we told him that was a strike, right? And he still went with it, and it cost the game, or it cost something like a complete game or a perfect game, or like just all of the above. Like, oh man, I don't know. ESPN is just waiting, be like, we can't wait till this starts to come in.
Yeah, it is. Hey, listen, we're going to take a quick break, and on the other side of the break, Kenneth and I are going to go at it for another half hour. So don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning with my special guest. He does 10 o'clock Mondays and Fridays, right here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
Si no te tengo, mi desastre personal. ¿Qué voy a hacer cuando no tenga tu boca junto a la mía? ¿Qué voy a hacer cuando despierte y vea mi cama vacía? A encontrar la medicina que me sana este dolor. Soy un muerto que camina.
AutomotiveMap.com presents the Sports Flash
on 1330 and 95.9 The Zone.
Back in the 8th inning with a base hit. He's going to square the bunt. He's going to drag him up right side of the pitcher. He throws home. He gets away from the catcher. Taylor scores, and the Royals take the lead here in the 10th inning.
The call on Royals radio as Kansas City rallied past the White Sox for a 4-3 10-inning win on Sunday. Michael Taylor opened the 10th on second base and advanced on Nicky Lopez's sack. Whit Merrifield was walked intentionally. Then Andrew Benintendi bunted the ball right back to the mound. The Cubs got drilled 7-1 against Pittsburgh. JT Brubaker pitched into the 6th and had the first 3 RBI of his career in the win. NHL tonight, the Blackhawks visit the Blue Jackets. Chicago coming off a 4-3 win at Columbus on Saturday. NBA Sunday, the T-Wolves 121-117 over the Bulls. Chuck Sanders, that's the Sports Flash, 1330 95.9 The Zone.
To all you do-it-yourselfers, get ready to welcome Fram into the fam. Because America's #1 oil filter brand now has their own new line of motor oil and fluids. And it's only at Advance and CarQuest Auto Parts. Stop into Advance and choose from 4 new Fram oil change bundles starting at just $20.99. They have the oil and filters you need to keep your engine running stronger, longer. Advance your auto at Advance Auto Parts and participating CarQuest locations. See store for details.
I'm Dr. Baker, an ER physician. If you're having leg pain, swelling, or redness, but haven't talked to your doctor yet, don't wait. This could be deep vein thrombosis, a blood clot which could travel to your lungs and lead to a pulmonary embolism, which could cause chest pain or discomfort or difficulty breathing and be deadly. Your symptoms could mean something serious, so don't wait. Talk to a doctor right away, by phone, online, or in person.
Brought to you by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
No bad. And Defoe with a pinch hit drive to right field. Defoe, D-I-F-O, clears the deck with a cannonball. First Pirate homer for Wilmer Defoe, and gives the Buccos what seems to be now a commanding 7-1 lead.
Look at it here. Oh, that was actually a slider. Thought he got a fastball. Slider that just stayed up and spun. Defoe gets all of it.
That's for everybody right now.
That was all Chicago sports, guys. Welcome back.
That's for everybody right now. You can't even bully the Cubs on it. That's for everybody.
No, that's everybody. Guys, welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago. We just got done with Josh Nelson from SoxMachine.com, talking a little White Sox baseball, and I'll be okay. I mean, I'm patient. It's just, again, it's the process that I'm interested. I can go with losing, okay, if you're doing everything that you should be doing and you're still losing. It's the process for me, because eventually the process will work out if you stay to it, if you stick to it. So we'll see.
It's just the bullpen. I mean, Shawn, but think about it. Compared to having Eloy gone, our worry was about runs, right? Mm-hmm. And right now, it's basically been the bullpen with a new coach, and they have the arm talent. I'll even say this, and even if you don't have the arm talent and you're a guy that, you know what I'm saying, you're pitching to the corners or whatever, but you're doing it masterfully like Cal Hendricks, you know, Greg Maddux style of pitcher. Listen,
okay,
if you're accurate and you're doing it right, but here you can at least off of knowing that once they get it figured out, they have the arm talent. You know what I'm saying? So, and we've talked about this in the past weeks, dude, really year to year. And like when Josh brought up KC, it's slightly, and I know they just had crazy arm talent. It's an abnormality in a way, because bullpens, they go through it a year to year. You know what I'm saying? Like guys that you really depend on another year, you know, in baseball, how when we grew up, it was common that you just didn't have a string of years of success. You had a half a season where you probably sucked, and then you kind of got your numbers back up before steroids really became a big thing. And it was easy to be yourself day after day after day. You know what I'm saying? But the bullpen, I think, and this was one of those things that we'll find out Ethan Katz, but also the players in the bullpen, I think it'll figure itself out. Kopech, you know, has been playing well. And of course, when I say get stretched out, I don't mean to be a starter this year, but being a multi-inning bullpen arm can take up some of that until perhaps Liam Hendricks becomes the Liam Hendricks that we wanted to come over from Oakland, even though Liam Hendricks hasn't had that many chances either right now to close out a game. So I'm not as concerned. I will wait and hold my opinions for a second, but right now it's been the bullpen, and that seems like it should be able to be fixed. Hopefully it should be able to be fixed, and we'll find out within the next month.
I hope so, bro. I hope so, because well, wait. That's all I can do is wait.
Yeah, I mean, all you could do is. Did you go out? Wait, did you go out to any games this weekend?
I was at opening day.
I remember you was at opening day.
But the weekend, no, I didn't go, because Saturdays got canceled. Was it canceled? Yeah, right. Saturdays got canceled, and then yesterday.
May 14th now.
Part of a doubleheader.
Makeup day. Yeah, so
7 innings.
I mean, dude, if they come out here and take the series from Cleveland, you know, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? I'm feeling better. But watching it, I didn't watch it like, man, what the hell are they doing? I watched it like there was some hiccups, but it's early and we'll see how it goes. They have way too much talent. And this is talent with guys being hurt. Like I said, I kind of felt good after yesterday's game when it came to hitting, to be honest with you, because with Tim out and with Eloy out, I thought it was going to be like, man, they may be able to get a couple of runs, and that's with Yohan Moncada not doing what he necessarily needs to do. So I feel better, because I didn't think Zach Collins, and I'm not making it seem like Zach Collins is a Golden Glove backstop, but I didn't think he was going to be that well as he was yesterday. You know what I'm saying? And that's not including hitting. You know, like, so now, we went from a situation last year, and I'm not saying that either of these guys are have the Vulcan mind gripped with Lucas Giolito that James McCann had, But we went from having a plus at having 2 backstops that you could count on to now you have 3. You know what I'm saying? Like that's dude. Like you have 3. Like I'm pleased to a certain degree. I'm a little bit more pleased than I am upset when it comes to this team, because coming out of spring training with Eloy going out, my heart was a little bit like perplexed as far as what's going to happen this season.
See, my thing is this, and here's why I'm still perturbed. It's the mental mistakes. Okay, it's the base running gaffes. It's those things, and that's baseball. And Tony La Russa needs to sit him down and he needs to throw him in the closet and be like, you know what, like Bronx Tale, like get your ass in the closet. You know what I mean? Because he's what did he call him? Not a jinx. He called him something else. Anyway, the dude, whoever he voted for, whoever he bet on, you root for the other team because he's automatically loses. But I think Tony needs to come down with some tough love, because the base running gaffes, the errors, the mental mistakes are far too great right now. Okay, far too great, and that's bothersome. That's what I mean when I'm saying trust the process. Okay, when Nicky Two Strikes has had a couple of issues in the field. He was a Gold Glover in college. He was a Gold Glover in the minors. And we're thinking, okay, even if you don't give us the bat, which he does, Nicky Two Strikes, okay, we got that glove. Okay, we got that Gold Glove. Because remember, wasn't it Yomer who got the Gold Glove the year right before the year he came up? But that same year, Nicky Two Strikes got it in the minors. So we're like, okay, we're getting Golden Glove defense. It hasn't been there. Luba.
Everybody's not gonna hit though, Sean. I mean, Pop. Like Nick Magical is my guy for I don't know about that one. He's
a slapper. He's a 300 guy. He's a guy who's in it. What he does is he keeps the line moving. He pisses you off by keeping the line moving, because after him you're like, oh fuck, now I got to deal with the starting line again. Yeah,
we brought it up last season here, you, Ivan, and myself, that he always has worried face. And part of that implying it was he didn't play relaxed. Like when his base running snafus come from I don't want to say his head is not in the game, but he's not focused on what the hell he needs to be focused on. Right. To me, he's so wound up, he can't clear his mind out and let the game. Yeah. So that's part of his, to me, because we thought base running wise, we knew he wasn't going to be like, okay, this guy's going to be out stealing bases. But you thought, especially perhaps later on in his career, now I mean later in a couple seasons in, hey, this guy would be nice in the 2-hole. You know what I'm saying? He can definitely move him over, be another guy that can get on base. We haven't seen that, but we saw last season that he makes base running errors. That's just, to me, that's why I'm like, it kind of comes right now until he disproves it. It kind of comes with Nick Magical, and like, unfortunately it does, you know what I'm saying? So that I don't know. I don't put a lot of faith right now, and I don't put a lot of faith in Nick Magical. And I would like to, but I can't right now. He has to prove a decent amount to me before I'm like, oh yeah, he's the guy that they told us he was supposed to be.
But what do you expect when you say you don't put a lot into him? What do you expect? Because you're not expecting.
I expect for him to have a decent. I expect for him to have an average glove that should be above average. I expect for him to get on base and sometimes have brain cramps and run himself out. I mean, and I'm not to say every game, but probably every week and a half, I would say that this is what he's proven so far. If he walk like a duck and he quack like a duck. Listen, RIP DMX. He was on Drake Champs in the past year, and he said, believe a person when they show you who they are. Right now, Nick Magical has shown me from last year, small sample size, this is who he is. And initially last year, we kind of went off of the hype, kind of like what you're talking about in the minor leagues, in college. We were reading the back of the card from where he had been at prior to coming to the big show. But right now, we had to look at the sample size of being in the big show, and that MF, he will run you out of an inning. All right, like that's just the truth of the matter, man.
He runs through stop signs. You got the third base coach like, what is he doing? I mean, this dude. I don't know, bro. It's
the tackle vest. The tackle vest coming around third. but look, if he hits 300, everything's all good. But like you said, right? Ken, like if the inconsistencies now that they start to merge into all phases, now you got to really think about what you got to do with this player, because maybe what if he needs another season? What if he needs some seasoning? You know what I mean? Right. What if he needs a couple more 1,000 at bats, 100, however many he needs to get? What if he needs that? So yeah, I like him. I like the idea of where he could be, like you said, future 2-hole spot, that solid, that kind of that stand fast. You know what I mean? Like that rock that's right there in the 2-hole. He's just going to be, a consistent hitter, a consistent fielder. But right now, he's not consistent at all.
Right, and even if he's the ninth hitter, but you're flipping it over early, I'm cool with it. But again, that still goes to he has to prove that he's not the guy we saw last year. Like because this, to be honest with you, this is the guy we saw in the small sample size season of last year. It is. This is what he did last year, and he's doing the same thing. He has to learn, to me, to relax. Like I think that he puts a lot of pressure on himself.
Too much pressure on himself.
Yeah, I think he puts a lot of pressure on himself. But yeah, right. He's gonna have to disprove me because it's him. All right, as far as guys that I'm I give my eyeball to, and then it's Eloy and Yohan, right? Till I'll be like,
I'm gonna steal Southside Zoe's comment. He looked like he was waiting for the belt. You know what I'm saying? He looks like that's not me. That's Southside Zoe. That's Masalowski's line. But like he's absolutely right. He looks like, all right, I can't screw this one up. Like, okay, ball hit to my left. Oh shit! Like then you know what I mean? He just looks jittery out there, and he needs to be more relaxed. I just feel like he's very young, man. You guys got a young team. Like all these guys are young. All these guys are young. Now, Yohan, I asked Jay the same thing, Ken, and I asked you. Do you think his mind is focused somewhere else? And I put some. Here you go. And it's not just that. You know what I'm saying? It's not just that, but is his mind in other ways?
It can't be. Listen, the dude. Let's be honest. Let me in my masculinity. Let me be secure in my masculinity. That good-looking MF is focused on a lot more than baseball regularly. And also, real quick, we were talking about this. You played that video. Didn't we say last week that was a jumper or a romper when Southside Zoe was on? That looks like a t-shirt. That looks like a short set right there.
It does look like a set.
That's a short set. That was a button-down short, and you saw the string at the bottom. That's a short set right there. I just want to clarify that. That looks like a short set.
You still have. There are rompers. I've seen some girls with rompers.
I know they're rompers. I know they're rompers.
But I'm saying with the string that would be hanging. So,
but not with the shirt that's hanging over it like that, Shawn. With the button down, looks like the button down is hanging over it. I'm just pointing out to give Yohan Makata something. Listen, we said that at the beginning of this year. He better play well. All right.
Yeah.
You better get, and this is the thing too. And I know Yohan Makata has said this through his interpreter that everyone has to pull their own weight to a certain degree. Yes, but no, you have to pull more weight. You've been paid and you're getting paid to be at least the third best player on this team consistently. You know what I'm saying? Like you're supposed to be with your tool set. You're supposed to be fighting for it, and you had so many more at bats than Lou Bob. So Lou Bob at least gets stat pass for right now, but this is your third and a half season basically as far as being in the majors. And I know last year, he had and I was right here telling you guys when he had COVID, like give him a second. But dude, you got to turn on that bad boy and get to it. Like you can't be patient, and he's been lucky because of your Mercedes, but you can't be this patient. You know what I'm saying? Like I'd rather them tell him like, you know what, take a ball occasionally, than him just sitting there, I'm just gonna see what they're gonna give me. Right? Like, dude, no. All right. And I'll say this too. This goes to, and I believe he's an excellent leader, and he's done. This goes to Jose. Hey, holla at homeboy. All right. Let him know what you need, because everything should be going off of what Jose and Timmy is basically saying. And Jose's been doing it longer from Cuba to here. It should be going off of, you see his approach, and it should be going off. But I'll say this too. None of these players outside of the players that you've brought in the last couple of seasons have been in a situation where they were the hunted. Like they weren't even hunters until last year. You know what I'm saying? Like now you're the hunted to go what you're saying, Shawn, and you got all these new guys around you trying to figure everything out. There's more fame. It's not as much. I do think there's still some biases against the White Sox when you look nationally where you think they should be as far as the teams that can make it to the World Series. But still, you're the hunted, and I don't think necessarily that their leaders have grown into those positions because they haven't been in these positions since they've been in the major leagues.
So yeah, okay, I can vibe with that. It's different being the hunted than the hunters, but you're still the hunters because you ain't done shit. You're not the World Series champions. You're not the back-to-back AL Central champions that they're trying to topple. You're going after Minnesota. Minnesota, until otherwise stated, Minnesota is the American League Central Division champion. And this is what I'm talking about and it goes back to my original statement. They're not hungry enough. They're not focused enough because everyone there, and I get it. Tony La Russa is trying to feel them out. Base running it has nothing to do with Tony La Russa. Okay, you're running because you're fucking up because you're doing stupid shit. Okay, because your asshole, your sphincter's tightening and not what we need it to. You guys have played baseball for the majority of your career, probably since 5 or 6 years old. So we're talking 15 to 20, 25 years of your life. You know good base running and you know bad base running. And you know when you're trying to make something happen and when you shouldn't, and they are. And that's bothersome. Errors. Well, you understand in the field, you need to be focused. That has nothing to do with Tony La Russa. A routine ground ball to you at third has nothing to do with Tony La Russa. This is all mental mistakes that they have to accept the blame for themselves for their own lack of mental focus, and that's what's bothering me. And this is the coach coming out and the player too, because I didn't put up any of that bullshit when we were playing with my teammates. You have a mental mistake. Okay, I get it. It happens. We all do. I've had them. Okay, but don't make that a habit. And right now it seems like they're starting to make it a habit, and that's what bothers me. And and I want Grandpa Tony. I want Grandpa Tony to come down and somebody say you're benched for 3 games. Why? Because you're just not focused. Take a rest, and I need you to focus because and list you why you've made here. You made a base running error here. You made an error here. You're here, here, and here. I think you need to sit down and watch. Okay, now and then let the rubber hit the road. And now we're going to see boom. Now you need to step up. Now you need to step up and play. You're going to be a crybaby because you got paid. Like, oh, well, he sit me down and he's old. He doesn't know the game. No, he does know the game. And he thinks your ass needs to sit down. Sit your ass down and watch and learn.
The last thing I worry about if him thinks it is like Bernie Mac. Him thinks he needs to sit down. But no, listen. When I said it, and you were talking about earlier, the eye of the tiger is when I was applying that to Tony La Russa. The errors, no. But again, we've been saying this with Nick Magical. This has been before Tony La Russa got here. That's who Nick Magical is. Listen, and Josh just said it. This may be who Yohan is. Look, part of the Kool-Aid we sipping, and just look, you can look across town. All of these guys aren't going to be superstars. This is not how it works. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully we have more than the Cubs did. I'll go straight to the Cubs. Hopefully you get 2.5 of these guys are almost superstars. All right. You can look at, you already got one in Jose. Timmy has kind of proven himself to be a superstar and to be a year-to-year talent. Now you need the Lubob Yohan mixture, even if it's a half season from both of them, and while the other one's down, the other one's pops out. That's what you have to get, and then the rest of these guys can just be good at times, and you'll have a great team. But the problem is the talent that you were looking for to take another step isn't doing it. But it's 9 games. You know what I'm saying? Like this is baseball, and this isn't last year where 9 games. Well, 20 games. If you mess up over 20 games, you could be out of it, even though they were going off of winning percentages last year. But you get what I'm trying to say. This isn't that. The complaints that we heard on the north side, as far as, like with Javi, 1, not having necessarily the iPad in the dugout, but 2, having a short season and not really being able to work your way out of it. Guys are going to have that this year. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think when you're looking at it with Tony La Russa right now, and I don't want to say like he's a punk, but I think slightly, and I mean in a curmudgeon way, he's trying to ingratiate himself with them to there's a level of trust, because you have to build up a level of trust before you just come out and start criticizing and getting on guys. You have to, or like I always tell my son this. I say, you spend a lot of time doing X, Y, and Z, right? But how many of these things benefit you, and how much time do you pour something into yourself that's going to benefit you? And I'm applying that to Tony La Russa. These guys, you got to wait till they feel like he's maybe, and again, they're grown-ass men are getting paid large sums of money, but feel like that he's poured a little something in before perhaps taking that heat, or enough time is going past. And when I say time, I'm talking about like a month and a half as far as time. I'm not talking about mid-season. I mean, he's your manager, he's your boss, but I still feel like it may be a little early. And also they've had some other issues. The bullpen has been an issue. So how are you going to punish an everyday player because the bullpen hasn't been able to do what they need to do? Because even if I'm having a hiccup, we still were going to win. Now, if my hiccup becomes weekly, like you're saying, you need to sit me down. But this is part of the problem. The depth has been performing, but they don't have enough depth to really sit someone down that's crucial for 3 games right now. You know, like, yeah, maybe when Timmy gets back, but if you're sitting there trying to prove a point to Yohan, this may not be the moment just because you need him out there in case he runs into something. So I agree with you, but I think it's still early for Tony La Russa to go full Tony La Russa on these players. I think you got to give him a month. Give him a month and a half, to where this is really Tony's team. To me, and I could be wrong, this is my opinion. In name right now is his team, but these two entities, as far as these players and this manager, haven't been together enough. They haven't melded enough right now. Let's let the meld kind of somewhat take place, because look, Timmy's out. You know, saying that was one of the guys we really want to see how him and his relationship. And I know he's still in the dugout, but we all know it's a difference from being on the field to just being a guy surround. Because right now you're just a body. But it's early. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully the bullpen hiccups go away. Liam Hendriks is going to be Liam Hendriks. You know what I'm saying? You could look at him as being a player that's probably pushing too much to try to prove his value to his new teammates. You know what I'm saying? Especially looking at as being the guy. Like, he wasn't like, oh yeah, he's closer 3. He was closer for who? Dude, you want to win this? I'm that dude right now. And I apply this to Tony La Russa. The thing, and you're totally right, Shawn, when you say they're still the hunted because they haven't proven anything. But they were the belle of the ball this offseason when it came to who wants this position. You know what I'm saying? Like, that gets to you when it's like, dude, who you come in here, we gonna do like it. That gets to you as a player, and I don't think it gets to Tony La Russa. I know Tony La Russa it can't be phased, basically. But I still think it's going to take a second, and give him a month and a half for this to really start to be Tony's team, so he can start really La Russaing it up. You know what I'm saying, in a positive manner. But it's early, man. It's long, and if the bullpen gets its stuff together, we wouldn't have these conversations, and we shouldn't. They got enough arms in there to where, you know what? I mean, I know on long days you're gonna have to pull out some guys you may not have to, but they got enough arm in there to hide a couple guys for at least a few games if you don't think those guys can come out there and give you what you need.
So it's gonna be like a stepdad. You got to wait his turn before you can.
You can't just start whooping. Listen, no, stepdad cannot just come in the house and start whipping people. You got to ingratiate yourself and involve some trust, right? Like, you just lived here a week and he already whop.
You ain't my dad.
No, Ivan, DCFS is going to be on your ass for that one. No, that's a great analogy, Shawn. That's a great analogy. Stepdad, listen, I'm telling you, I had the stepdad where when him and my mother was dating, he was out in the PJs playing with us. We flipping around and just having good times. As soon as they got together, the person never played with us again, right? I've been stepdad is the point that I'm trying to point out to you, all right? But yeah, you gotta prove yourself. And again, it'd be different. It'd even be different. Let me get out of here. It'd be different if they had made a move during last season, and then we were like, all right, Tony La Russa didn't get a spring training, but they knew him somewhat of last year, and now this, you know, he had 40 games last year, 20 games last year. And they wouldn't do that, especially in the shortened season, but you still get what I'm trying. They haven't acclimated themselves to one another, to me, just yet. But I don't think it should take forever. All right. Like, they're still professionals, but I just say give them a month, give them a month and a half. Okay. And if you're not seeing some of those things, then I'm definitely in line with that, Ken.
I'll give Memorial Day.
Yeah.
All right. So June 1st, we get to have this conversation again, because Memorial Day actually May 31st. So you got the whole long month of May.
As a positive. And because take Dylan Cease out of it. All right. You're getting production from Carlos Rodon.
Dylan Cease is still fine. He's still got that one inning that he jags off. And
listen, but Shawn, you know what?
He's locked down at crazy.
This is how crazy it is, though. This is how crazy it is. That's an issue just with the rotation. You got one guy who has a bad inning, right? But, dude, you look at Lance Lynn, and I've said this before, dude, he wasn't playing on necessarily those world beaters, right? He wasn't necessarily getting as many runs. I'm not saying all the time with the Rangers, because the Rangers, did have a run. But now you're here, and look at what he can do on this team. We know what Lucas Giolito can do. We know what Dallas – like, dude, you have 3 guys now, right, that you didn't have. You had 2 guys last year. You had 3 guys, and maybe Rodon if his arm doesn't fall off. So you got 4 guys. You got a rotation with depth. They just have to figure it out. It's early in the year. So that's sound. If our hitters can just be what they were last season, dude, this is going to be fine. You know what I'm saying? And you have a much better manager. You have the third winningest manager in MLB. and MLB has been around for almost 200 years. All right, like this, we should be good. And then let me finish with this. And since this is Jerry's guy, Jerry's going to do probably whatever he needs to do if they're close to make this guy look better, his decision look better. So I think right now, since it's early, we shouldn't be as worried.
Okay, I got you. I'm not worried. I'm just annoyed. Is what that's.
You
what
should
it
be
is.
annoyed.
I'm not worried at all because this team got.
That's a great point.
Annoyed because I wanted them to come out and put everybody I notice. We're here and we're going for the title. Period. That's it. That's the only. We only want one thing, and that's the title. That's it. Okay, that's it. And they're not doing it right now. So, but hey, you know what? Great stuff, Papa. I appreciate it. See you on Friday. All right. Do me a favor though. Let everyone tell everyone about the where they can see you online.
Definitely Under Center podcast for NBC drops today. It'll be a That Davis show tomorrow and probably a flip next Monday. Always appreciate it. Looking forward to this next interview you got coming up, man. Delving into some realness. Shout out to Jason and shout out to Xavier. But y'all have a good one, man. I'll see you on Friday.
Bet. Thank you. See you then. All right, guys. That was Kenneth Davis from the That Davis Show and the new host of the Under Center podcast on NBC Sports Chicago. And this is the interview I told you I was excited to have. Guys, it's on the other side of the break. We're going to talk to Xavier Pope, Esquire himself. He's a sports attorney, and we're going to delve into this Deshaun Watson case. It's really taken a life of its own. So I definitely want to get his legal opinion. So don't go anywhere, folks. Xavier Pope coming up next right here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
Hey, this is Dr. J, and I listen to Shawn and Maya in the morning.
AutomotiveMap.com presents the Sports Flash on 1330 and 95.9 The Zone.
Back in the 8th inning with a base hit. He's going to square the bunt. He's going to drag him up right side of the pitcher. He throws home. He gets away from the catcher. Taylor scores, and the Royals take the lead here in the 10th inning.
The call on Royals radio as Kansas City rallied past the White Sox for a 4-3 10-inning win on Sunday. Michael Taylor opened the 10th on second base and advanced on Nicky Lopez's sack. Whit Merrifield was walked intentionally. Then Andrew Benintendi bunted the ball right back to the mound. The Cubs got drilled 7-1 against Pittsburgh. JT Brubaker pitched into the 6th and had the first 3 RBI of his career in the win. NHL tonight, the Blackhawks visit the Blue Jackets. Chicago coming off a 4-3 win at Columbus on Saturday. NBA Sunday, the T-Wolves 121-117 over the Bulls. Chuck Sanders, that's the Sports Flash, 1330 95.9 The Zone.
To all you do-it-yourselfers, get ready to welcome Fram into the fam. Because America's #1 oil filter brand now has their own new line of motor oil and fluids. And it's only at Advance and CarQuest Auto Parts. Stop into Advance and choose from 4 new Fram oil change bundles starting at just $20.99. They have the oil and filters you need to keep your engine running stronger, longer. Advance your auto at Advance Auto Parts and participating CarQuest locations. See store for details.
I'm Dr. Baker, an ER physician. If you're having leg pain, swelling, or redness, but haven't talked to your doctor yet, don't wait. This could be deep vein thrombosis, a blood clot which could travel to your lungs and lead to a pulmonary embolism, which could cause chest pain or discomfort or difficulty breathing and be deadly. Your symptoms could mean something serious, so don't wait. Talk to a doctor right away, by phone, online, or in person.
Brought to you by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago on this House Music Monday edition. Man, I'm telling you what, it was a beautiful weekend here in the Chi. I know it was overcast, a little bit and rainy, but you know what? Anytime you have you're able to open your eyes and enjoy the day, whether it be cloudy or sunny or gloomy, it's a great day. So I had a great weekend. Great stuff. But you know what? It's back to sports, and this is the topic that we've talked about in here before. We're just giving our opinions, but now we're going to get a legal opinion. My next guest, he's an attorney, and he is the host of the Suit Up News podcast, I believe. He's a sports legal contributor for Al Jazeera News. He's also done work for Forbes and The Athletic. You can find him on Twitter at Xavier Pope. That's EXAVIER at Xavier Pope. Guys, welcome back to Shawn and Maya. Xavier Pope. Xavier, what's up, buddy? How are you?
What's up, Shawn? How you doing, my man?
Good, man. I appreciate the time, man. I really, really do, because this is a topic that I really wanted to discuss. And I give my opinion, but my opinion is doesn't have legal training behind it, and I needed to get your opinion on it because this is a very, very strong, a very pertinent topic that's going on in the country today, and especially in the NFL.
Yeah, Shawn, it continues to develop. We started out from a couple of accusers that Tony Busby, the lawyer for the accuser, came out with, and it seemed to be a slow moving train. But eventually, we're up to 22 accusers and up to potentially 50 massage folks
therapists.
Therapists. I want to be able to use the proper term legally because some of these therapists were online, some of them that he went to different locations, and so and how they're classified really just depends on that individual, and it's so many of them. And so getting that clarification is really important. We'll find out a little bit more about that as the proceedings move forward. What's really interesting is how slow the NFL has acted. And I think that it's primarily due to how the nature of the complaints of how they've been brought up. There isn't a criminal investigation
bingo
that we know of at this point. And so usually sports leagues tend to take more definitive action when there has been some criminal complaint or some criminal investigation involved. So significant amount of women with no criminal investigation. We know that the issues with victims coming forward. And so with not the backing of so many of a criminal complaint, you have the civil aspect of it. And then Deshaun Watson being one of the most high profile players in the National Football League and the NFL itself, seeking to quote unquote protect the shield. The NFL has taken a really cautious approach to how it's handled Deshaun Watson. So has the Houston Texans, who we saw initially looking for a trade, and now you see this limbo situation with them. This comes on the backdrop of then Deshaun Watson admitting having consensual encounters with some of these women, and there being some sort of contention whether consensual encounters by a certain number, not necessarily saying 22 clouds what has happened. And so, but we have saw Nike pull out, is basically suspend their relationship with them. Now, the extent of what constitutes a suspension really is really amorphous, in my opinion. That was one of the first questions I asked when I saw the report come from CNBC as to what extent does this suspension come from. You also saw other relationships be put on hold with Deshaun Watson pending what happens in court. So right now, there's a lot of unanswered questions with Deshaun Watson. Will the NFL put him on the commissioner's exempt list? And what does that do for the Houston Texans and how they move forward with their franchise with so many different moving pieces, with many of the players of that team having left the Texans? So there are a lot of unanswered questions, Shawn. I think that it's important to really ask them so we can really give your audience and those that are interested in this case some clear identifications as to what the landscape looks for the future of Deshaun Watson from a legal standpoint, from a planning standpoint. What does it mean for victims? What it means for any future investigations, and how the impact takes place in the National Football League.
I take allegations of sexual misconduct and rape, sexual abuse very serious. Okay. I have quite a few friends who've been victim of that, and I'm very sensitive to that. But I've also been a professional athlete, and I know professional athletes, and I also know that there have been also many cases where it's been a ruse. It's been a money grab, and it's been a situation where they figure they can cash in quick, maybe get a little or a little hush money, so when this came out, I didn't take one side or the other. Okay, but being a former athlete myself, and knowing people who've been in situations like this, I still said, okay, let's see how it plays out, but let me look at what we have. So the fact that there's 22 women have come out with Busby. Okay, the first thing is that they're all under the same lawyer. That drew a red flag for me. Okay. Mm-hmm. Secondly, no criminal charges, and allegedly one of some of the women most of them who were Jane Doe, they filed under Jane Doe, had said he had penetrated them without their consent. So if they penetrated you without consent, that is another red flag, because now you're not filing criminal charges, just civil charges. Okay, that's another thing. And then they just kept coming out. And this is all after Deshaun Watson said he did not want to be with the Houston Texans. Okay, he said he was going to sit out, whatever. And you can call me a conspiracy theorist because I am. and I think it's just the big boy saying, hey, listen, okay, you're going to stay in Houston. I think it's best for the NFL. The Houston Texans don't want to trade you. And it seems very convenient in my eyes that all these women, some of them were penetrated. And if they did, then that's rape, that they're not filing criminal charges. Then they're filing for the minimum amount in the state of Texas for civil charges. That's $500. And granted, you may not file for $1 million, but man, I would anticipate that a woman say, hey, you're going to pay. First, you're going to go to jail for doing this, for violating me and my person. And secondly, you're going to pay out the nose, 50 grand, 20, 80 grand, 100 grand, or whatever, something. I don't think it would be only $500 that they're suing for. That was my opinion. That's my opinion on the thing. And I said this: if he did it, please prosecute him to the fullest extent of the law. If he didn't, there have to be a lot more questions as to why all this snowballed so quickly into him to ruin and tarnish this man's name.
Yeah, we know that Tony Busby ran for the mayor of Houston and received 28% of the vote. And so is politically connected to the city, and obviously he tried for many, many years to be able to have a foothold in Houston politics. And so he's been involved intricately in what goes on in that city. And there are certain fans that do take their fandom to an extreme. And we saw fans sue the National Football League after a preseason game that got canceled a few years ago. That was brought by Michael Avenatti, who has his own issues. But this was over a field being congealed. We've had fans sue the NFL over a variety of different reasons when they don't like the outcome of a particular situation. So the precedent of fans using their voices collectively, legally, to try to influence some sort of outcome isn't unheard of. It is not out of the sphere of thought that someone would use the court system to potentially bully a athlete to do what they want. But sexual assault is so serious, and it's so heinous a crime, and it's so difficult for victims to step forward. We do have to, like you said at the beginning, at the outset, respect victims and believe them. The conspiracy element, I can't buy into that, because one of the things you learn as a lawyer is do not accept facts that are not in evidence. But I will state that Busby's influence in Houston politics do draw a red flag into what he may be doing in the case and any actions he may be taking in the case, number one. Number two, we still have to be able to determine what is the merits of a case against Deshaun Watson. And ultimately, if Mr. Busby has the influence on politics that we think he does, then maybe some of the different stories that are coming forward does lead to a criminal investigation. And then that really puts Deshaun Watson in a difficult situation. It puts the NFL in a much, much more difficult situation, because then they would be pretty much at that point forced to put him on the commissioner's exempt list, which I'm actually surprised that hasn't been done. And that's the big determination of what's going on here. The NFL, and NFL doesn't even seem like they're really moving fast enough to do anything. It doesn't really appear that there's a really concerted effort on victim rights organizations to really press on the NFL to do something. It is one of the most peculiar sexual assault scandals that I've seen in recent memory, where there has been a slew of allegations against a star player. And really, it's kind of going on. Yes, we're talking about it, but it's kind of going underneath the radar in terms of people really wanting something to be done to take care of Deshaun Watson for what is alleged to be have done to him. Don't have you? Isn't this peculiar to you, Shawn? We've seen a lot of different sexual assault cases, and right away something was done. And there was some mechanism that was taken to be able to discipline the player, the team to do something with the player. We really haven't seen that on any significant level. Like I said, we saw Nike suspend the campaign, but we don't know the substance of what are you going to stop making the shoes? Are you going to pull down a couple of posters? What exactly are you doing? And so I just think that there's just kind of a way to maybe brands are protecting themselves with putting out maybe lip service towards holding off supporting Deshaun Watson without feeling the need to actually do something that comes at a financial cost.
You know what, guys? We're talking to Xavier Pope, Esquire extraordinaire and a sports lawyer, talking about the Deshaun Watson case right here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago. I find it very peculiar, a lot of things. Like, and you mentioned the NFL not really doing anything. At least put them on the exempt list. Say, okay, until you get everything handled, okay, we're going to put you here, and then we'll see how it plays out. They're not even doing that. That was another red flag for me. If you were his lawyer, would you tell him to say anything? Because we haven't heard one thing from Deshaun Watson. Not even I didn't do it. Not even this. These are false. You know what I mean? When Derrick Rose got accused of sexual misconduct, he came out. He's like, no, this is a lie. And he fought. Remember the girl, if you recall, the young lady wanted some hush money, and he was like, and him and more likely Reggie was probably like, hell no, you ain't giving her a dime. And they fought it. And so he came out and said, no. Your thoughts on the fact that Deshaun Watson hasn't said anything to this point?
The similarities. There's one significant similarity between Derrick Rose and Deshaun Watson. One of those things is there isn't a criminal complaint against Deshaun Watson. There wasn't a criminal complaint against Derrick Rose. And I broke that down at the time and stated that there were some issues with that legally in terms of moving forward to addressing Derrick Rose. Although there were some troubling accounts in terms of what the lawsuit was, some of that was filed in terms of how some of the actions that the men took, and even some of the deposition that Derrick Rose took when he talked about how men behave. But that was one person. We're talking about 22 women, Shawn. And we're talking about a different league in the National Football League, where it's all about the next man up. When stars have their relative value in the sport seems to be significantly less, unless you're playing the quarterback position, which position that Deshaun Watson is currently playing. So you've also heard in the coming days that Deshaun Watson's lawyer admit that there were consensual relationships with those women. Once that happened, that muddies the water significantly as to how Deshaun now he looks sleazy. He looks like a guy who took some actions that really don't show his character that the league once put him out to be. So he's in a position where he kind of has to stay silent. He has to let his lawyer speak for him. He has to have his lawyer stand in the gap and to be able to present fact-based analysis or information to the public in the trial of a trial of public opinion for Deshaun Watson. So, and we've been talking about this, how this is kind of laying a little low from a public relations standpoint. You don't want to put the NFL in a position where the NFL thinks that you are a loose cannon or you're acting beyond the scope of containing a public relations crisis, where the NFL has to now step forward and protect its own self to put you on an exempt list. Because this is really what it's all about. Right now, Deshaun Watson isn't, quote unquote, really making the NFL look bad for not addressing issues of sexual assault. It looks, yes, the allegations look bad on their face, but without a criminal complaint, without a criminal investigation, without more than some of the more murky details of what the issues are, and without a significant pressure we've seen being put on the NFL, Deshaun Watson coming out and trying to defend himself would be a personal public relations disaster for him, and it would put the NFL in a position to be forced to act.
Okay, one of the reasons that, and one of the other red flags that I forgot to mention a few moments ago was with Busby. Apparently, he had approached Deshaun Watson's people and said, "You know what? If you basically extort, hush money." He wanted hush money, and they said no. And that's when all of these things came out. To me, again, that was how helpful or damaging is that to Deshaun Watson's case if because it's been documented that he did come and ask for, if you make X amount, if you pay us this amount of money that, just we won't leak it. He didn't, and it leaked.
Yeah, I mean, now the structure of how the Tony Busby approach Deshaun Watson and the determination of that being extortion is really significant legally. A lawyer cannot ethically, under the certain rules that every attorney is barred in, basically threaten legal action in such a way that's outside of ethical bounds. And one of those things would be pay us or we're going to sue you. Pay us or we're going to go to the media. It's a certain structure that you get across the threat of suit without redressing certain harms, but you have to do so in such a way that doesn't look like extortion. So I've heard about these different reports of how Tony Busby has done. Now that would be on Deshaun Watson's lawyer if he did perceive the actions and the mechanisms how that's been taken to be that unethically, to then file in that particular state's system to discipline the lawyer for actions that they've taken that have been unethical. Now, the risk of that is now you put yourself on notice with other lawyers in the state with how you do business. If they don't like something with how you've done, now to file something against you. And so there's a certain camaraderie, even though you may be on the other side of a particular issue, some of the risk of doing something like that.
Guys, we're joined by Xavier Pope. He is an attorney, a sports attorney, talking about the Deshaun Watson situation right here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago. It's really murky to me. Like I said, I've had plenty of stories of former athletes who've had just things. If you don't give us money, this comes out, and just craziness. And you being a sports attorney, I'm sure you've heard one or two crazy stories as well.
Well, I mean, I've used mechanisms myself to threaten lawsuits before. I mean, I've done it plenty of times. I represent athletes, celebrities. Me breaking it down on my Suit Up News on Twitter at Xavier Pope, talking about these issues. And one of the things that specific language is, we want to be able to solve this matter, privately. You could say that and it still is, comes across like you could do a multitude of different things from a legal standpoint. Now, how they perceive it, and they look at it, oh, you're extorting it. No, it's publicly, easily. Every time you file for suit in a particular jurisdiction, those files are public.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to navigate the language in such a way that you are doing so legally, but you also are doing so forcefully to zealously advocate for your client. And so that's completely different than extortion. I think that's very important to put that out there. And if there isn't any issue with that, then that attorney could be brought up on for ethics grounds in that particular state. We don't see that right now. We don't really see much of anything right now other than this potential lawsuit. Now, sexual assault lawsuit and being able to resolve it in terms of the depositions that are required, the evidence gathering that's required, the machinations through the legal system for all of those 22 alleged individuals could take years. So if that's why I talked about the importance of there being no criminal investigation, and if Tony Busby is as politically connected as he say he is, and he's run for mayor and got 28% of the vote in 2019, why isn't there a criminal investigation into Deshaun Watson? I think that is one of the that's the biggest question that looms in the air, not just for Deshaun Watson legally, but for the National Football League in terms of what they do with Deshaun Watson and what the Houston Texans do in terms of what they do with their contract moving forward.
Yeah, and believe me, that's why I truly think that it's just a ploy. It's a conspiracy. Houston wants him. They paid him. They want him. He puts asses in the seats. He's electric, and they want him, to be their quarterback. I don't know. Again, I'm not legally trained, so
I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I am not a conspiracy theorist, Shawn. Nor will I ever be so. I don't purport to say that there's someone out to get Deshaun Watson. There isn't a contingency of fans or interested people attempting to keep Deshaun Watson in the city of Houston. It's something juicy for sports fans to go back and forth. But at the end of the day, we just have to go with what can be proven. Right now, nothing has been proven yet because we don't have the significant advancement in the criminal proceedings, and we don't have a criminal investigation. And we have to keep this is the question. Forget about you could toss the conspiracy theory out the window, Shawn. Where is the criminal investigation into Deshaun Watson, and where is the local political influence of Tony Buzbee to bring that about if these allegations are so severe? We have to keep asking that question. If you're Deshaun Watson's attorney, you might ask that question publicly as well.
So the Houston Police Department has launched an investigation into this. Again, still no charges, but they've quote unquote launched an investigation. What would that consist of?
I mean, they would launch an investigation where they can look into, they may ask some of the witnesses, some of the alleged victims to give some sort of statements to put their. When you get to that state of the game, you as a potential accuser, are you going to run the risk of putting your own self in legal jeopardy if you don't tell the truth? So will all 22 of those accusers step up and give police false accounts? Or give any accounting at all? So I think that's when the rubber meets the road. If you truly believe that you've been sexually assaulted in a criminal manner, you're talking to the police.
Thank you.
You're talking to the police, but if they've had enough, but please be mindful as we look at the taking seriously sexual assault. There are steps in the process. So are you personally invested to come forward and bring an allegation from a civil standpoint? Now you have to jump a different hurdle. Are you comfortable enough putting yourself at your own legal personal jeopardy at risk by bringing a criminal charge? So this all comes along the way. Now, this may impact some of the civil aspect of things. Although there's a lower standard of proof in a criminal case, there's preponderance of the evidence versus reasonable doubt. Still, the pressure of potentially going and talking to the police, does this bring all 22 accusers to bear against Deshaun Watson? The issue is it's 22 people. That's a lot.
And that's my question: is that is that one of the reasons? Do you think, in your opinion, that there have been no criminal suits because there's a lot less? Is the penalty a lot less severe if you file a civil charge as opposed to a criminal charge? Because a civil, you just have to prove beyond it seems a lot less that you have to prove in a civil case than you do in a criminal. And if you're found to have lied or led someone out, filed a false lawsuit in a civil case, are the penalties a lot less severe than they would be in a criminal case?
Let me break this down in terms of strategy, Shawn.
Okay.
If I'm Deshaun Watson's, if I'm Tony Buzbee, I'm not approaching Deshaun Watson with a social media post or asking for money. You're basically giving that person more time to kind of figure out what to do to be able to protect themselves. What you're doing is the first couple of people that are coming to you and you're talking to them, you're going to the police. You're getting an investigation started and going. While that investigation is starting to get launched, and then you're filing in civil court. Then you're approaching them and say, okay, now what do you want to do? We have a criminal investigation. We have civil matter going on right now. So what do you want to do now? That puts way more pressure on a potential settlement and any potential actions that go forward from there. That's something that Tony Buzbee did. I thought was legally a mistake. I thought that it was really sloppy lawyering in that respect. And maybe, based on what I've read about him and his engagement in politics, he's a little bit of a loose cannon, kind of does things a little bit unconventionally. Okay. So, and I think that maybe he he thought that some of his posturing publicly may have been something to get him attention. So these may be perfectly legitimate charges against Deshaun Watson, but that there is a grandstanding lawyer that is there. Please believe that, because if he was really serious about getting a resolution, I just think that he would have taken a different pattern, a different strategy to be able to get what he wanted. And he may be in less position to get what he wants now, because there's no way Deshaun Watson is going to settle a civil case with 22 women now. His career will be complete. His career will be done.
Yep. Yeah.
He's over with. So now he has to defend with all force and with every muster he has in him, the cases that are before him, and he's not put in the same position than he was before. Although it's more public, he still is not at as much as a disadvantage as he may have been before with a different strategy by Tony Busby.
So Busby should have approached it differently. He should have gone. They said, go to police, then file civil.
Got to.
Yeah, and it only seems that the police got involved because there were just so many civil, and then again, these are all reasons why I just don't think that. I think obviously he's come out and said he's had sexual relations with some of these girls. I just don't think a lot of it, or if any of it, was forced. Again, for me, and asking various people, and Maya, my co-host, I asked her, what would you do? And then all the women that I asked would say, you're going to jail. If you violate me, you're going to jail. Period.
The statistics don't bear that out, though, Shawn, in terms of reporting sexual assault crimes. And so,
but if you report, why would you? If you're going to file suit, why would you only file civil for $500? Because if you're going to file suit, then you've already decided. You've said, listen, I'm going to come out, because it's very difficult for many victims to even deal with this, and bring it public. So, but if you're going to go public, why are you doing it for $500? Why aren't you saying, listen, your ass is going to jail for violating me, and you're gonna feel in the pocketbooks? And that, to me, was one of the biggest issues, that none had gone that route. And to me, that's still the biggest red flag of them all. You're not filing, you're not putting them in, you're not asking for jail, because many of the women that I've asked about this question, all of them said, you're going to jail. If I decide to come out, you're going to jail. I'm not filing for $500. I'm filing. So your ass can go to jail, and you're going to pay I'm going to hit you legally, and your career's over. You're going to jail, and you're going to feel in the pocketbooks. And to me, there's something about it. All 22 women, have only filed at $500. Something's wrong, because if one of them had been raped like they claim they have, you've come out, you're not filing for $500, dude. You're not.
Those filings could be changed and amended. So and so I think that's the important thing. For number one. Number two is, I know the women have told you what they would do, but
until you're in that situation,
every individual woman has her own individual set of choices to make. And as someone who has a platform like I do, I just don't think it's even worth even diving into whether the accounts are true. I'm not a judge. I'm not a jury. I can only speak to the strategy here. The strategy is quite peculiar. But then again, I'm not in the shoes of those women. And remember, it wasn't just all 22 of them come out from the beginning. They have been increasing as the charges or the allegations have become more public, and maybe the allegations becoming more public have given women more courage to step up and say, hey, this happened to me. And sometimes when women are assaulted or they have been handled a certain way, there's a self-gaslighting that takes place, and where a woman questions whether she has been assaulted or not, or whether something, and then telling herself that she hasn't, and then hearing an account of another woman, thinking back, you know what, that wasn't okay, and then coming forward and stepping forward. So their recollections, and then their processing, and then how they engage with the legal system can change over time, and this could lead to some more serious ramifications of that, as those recollections, or as the recognition of what's happened to them becomes to bear. And so we have to allow time for that to come forward. A lot of us, we live in the social media era, and we expect in social media era that, okay, one thing happens one day, and then later on, by the time the news cycle concludes, that we'll have an answer to issues that really take sometimes years to be able to be solved. And so it's a slow moving train a lot of time, particularly, as you're filing deadlines and you're getting to certain evidence gathering phases, discovery motions and depositions and things of that nature. We really just don't know what's going on right now. And we'll see in the upcoming weeks whether there is some sustained effort to really put some teeth in a criminal investigation against Deshaun Watson. And that's going to turn the tide in terms of how the NFL will deal with him, and whether this will put even more pressure on the civil side. Once you have pressure on the criminal side, you definitely have a little bit more pressure on the civil side. But without the criminal element in these cases, the civil measures, although they have a lower standard of proof, they still have less teeth to be able to move forward because they don't necessarily have the conviction on its side or some of the different machinations of the criminal system to work to be able to use in terms of benefit of proof. And so we don't have that right now. We're going to see what happens as it develops. But Deshaun Watson's in a heck of a lot of trouble, but the NFL is still sitting on its hands trying to figure out what they're going to do next.
Last question before we let you go. If this turns out to be a situation where, unfortunately, they colluded or they made stuff up, okay? What kind of legal action can Deshaun take? And I think, what kind of legal action can he take? Because my question, and we talked about the NFL and why they're not doing anything. And this is where, again, my conspiracy theory says, if the NFL knows about him and they want him in Houston, if they do all these things to him and they get rid of him and he comes and they file criminal charges and he wins, can he go back and sue the NFL? Can he go back and sue all these girls? Who can he sue if all this comes out to be a farce?
That's a really great question, Shawn. I mean, you want to start with first, if there is some sort of criminal investigation and then some of those women submit false statements or go to police with false intent or actively seeking out the police to file some sort of complaint against Deshaun Watson, then and depending on various statutes and depending on where they're filing, and if there's an even different city outside of Houston, you're looking at the whole Jussie Smollett situation where you're going, you file an unlawful police report that comes with various penalties, whether it's fines or whether it's jail time or whatever. So you have that element of it. The second element, without the criminal involvement, you have those women that are filing potential false charges or false allegations against Deshaun Watson or any statements that are made to the press in regards to, and those actions are intended with malice to harm the reputation of Deshaun Watson, then he could potentially move forward in some form of defamation against some of the potential accusers as well. You also have the element of Mr. Busby, if he is taking actions that have been deemed unethical in terms of bringing these actions or allegations against Deshaun Watson, could potentially face ethical complaints in the jurisdiction where he has purview over. And so these are all speculative at this point. Deshaun Watson is sitting on the defense and not sure as to what the next stage of his career is going to be. He has complained about feeling ill and being in a compromised state in terms of,
you think?
22 sexual assault charges versus him. But I think that the fact that he's admitted to a lot of these different allegations, not in terms of sexual assault element of it, but being consensual, I think Deshaun Watson probably needs to be able to seek some sort of professional help, maybe for some sort of sex addiction or some of the different issues he may face. So we haven't heard anything about that, and whether he's going to get help for that, and whether that whether he would even announce something to that effect would potentially jeopardize how he's perceived in the legal system, or jeopardize how he's viewed from a public relations standpoint. So yet to be seen whether Deshaun Watson does something like that, but it is something to consider.
Yeah, well, again, first of all, if he did it, then then he needs to be prosecuted to the full extent of the law, and but if he didn't, and they're making this up for whatever reason, the reason from the NFL, political reason by Busby or whatever it is, then I hope he sues their ass for everything he can, because that's, you run my name through the mud like that, okay, and put you through. Now that's literally pain and suffering. Sometimes and I want a $10 million for pain and suffering. That's pain and suffering when you don't know if your career's over, if you're going to jail or something like that. I hope he does.
Especially for something like this, man.
Yep.
This is, outside of killing someone, I mean,
and child molestation, those two are, yeah.
That's like the trifecta of things you do that would pretty much destroy your reputation. And to be able to face that is daunting for anyone, whether you're Deshaun Watson or Deshaun on the street. So we're looking to get more information as this evolves, and I'll be able to have a better sense of where this case is going. Right now, we don't know where we are. The investigation is just the tipping cap. What does Houston police do? What do the police in other jurisdictions do? And do they contribute to this being a more serious situation for Deshaun Watson in court, or freedom, or his playing days in the National Football League?
Yeah, and I'll tell you this, X, if not one criminal charge comes out of the investigation, especially by one or two women who've claimed that he penetrated them, without their consent, then to me that's something's rotten in Denmark. Something's rotten in Denmark if they each talk and not one criminal charge comes out. Then yeah, and because when you're one-on-one, it's easy to hang with a group. It's like, it's easy to hang with your people. Like, okay, we're all together. But when they get you alone, they get you in that room, and you have that spotlight on you, literally and or figuratively, and that's a whole nother situation. When you're like, man, all of a sudden I don't feel so secure in my previous statement. So I'm really anxious to see how it plays out. And if any criminal charges are brought up, like I said, if none are, then man, to me, it seems like it's just been a situation where they just try to coerce him into staying. And man, that would just be horrible to see what people will go do just to get their way because they're powerful and rich. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Hey, dude, great stuff, dude. I really appreciate it. But do me a favor, let everyone know where they can find you and your work online.
Sure, they can find me on Twitter at Xavier Pope. That's EXAVIER POPE. Check the latest episodes of Suit Up News. Use hashtag Suit Up News. 2 minutes and 20 seconds of sports, politics, and trending topics that matter. Suit Up.
Great stuff, buddy. I appreciate it, man. Thank you very much.
Without.
All right, now, guys, that was Xavier Pope. Whew, deep stuff. And I'll tell you what, I hope none of these charges, I hope no criminal charges come out. Okay, in the Shawn Watson case, because if no criminal charges come out, then to me, again, and I'm not a lawyer, I don't even play one on TV. Okay, but to me, that'll show me that it's just all bullshit. And Busby had his agenda. The Houston Texans had their agenda that they wanted him to stay. They wanted to ruin his reputation so no one would trade for him, no one would want him, and he would have to stay in Houston and play for them. And if that's the case, and trust me, just here's the thing, I just don't trust rich people who in power will do whatever they have to do to get their way. Right. I've seen it multiple times.
And that's the point that I wanted to make. It before we start castrating the Houston Texans, and we know how dirty the NFL could be, we know how dirty you have to think that Busby he acted alone, you know what I mean? Oswald acted alone. But you have to think that he did this out of spite to Deshaun Watson, because I mean, you got to think, fans in Houston, Texas football, people are invested in that team. Like, I mean, in another level invested in football into that team. So you got to think that, he could be just, like I said, politically, not only politically, but also just to smear Deshaun Watson. He could just be acting alone. You know what I mean? It's an advantage to him. And like you said, they're not criminal charges, so he's really not going to get any shot back at him. Like if it all goes south, it's all benefit. It looks like it all benefits Busby in the end. If his political aspirations stay true, and if it just all goes to a wash, and he just
if no criminal charges,
all he did was smear Deshaun's name because he wants to leave Houston and just elevated himself in order to gain favor with the people of Houston. It's like, look at the guy that hates us. I'm going to go ahead and talk bad about him or make his life a living hell and go vote for me later in the next election.
That's exactly what it is. I'm the guy who, if he only got 28% of the vote, which was, not very much in the city of Houston, which is why he lost. He can say, okay, well, what's hot right now? What's hot right now? Right now, the Me Too movement is still very strong. And for me to go and put away a black man for sexually assaulting a woman, probably a lot of white women. Okay, let's not get that twisted. That race would play a huge in it. Okay, and I hate to do this, but some of the names, they're white. Okay, they're white. Okay, so you bring that image of a black man sexually assaulting a white woman. Okay, that holds a lot of power in the eyes of the public. Okay. Don't think that Busby doesn't know that. And, my thing is, and as I told Xavier, if there are no criminal charges after this investigation by the Houston police, if there are no criminal charges, I'm Deshaun Watson, I'm suing everybody and their mama for everything they fucking got. I'm sorry. I'm suing it. So you might not even be able to get public aid. That's how much I'm going to sue your ass. Okay. For the defamation of character, for my pain and suffering, and all the money that I get. Is good, and I would go directly to battered women's shelters. Okay, so those are the people that need it. For you, for lying and trying to drag my name through mud, you talk about a quick flip and making sure that Deshaun Watson's able to, come out of this looking decent.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Give all every single dime, because I'm gonna sue you for X amount of money, and you're gonna pay my legal fees that I had to pay. Okay, and all this other stuff, and everything that I get goes to all the women's shelters in the city of Houston. Okay.
Like I said, if Deshaun did it, take his ass go directly to jail. Take your ass directly to jail. Like that's, but you see, I like there's just this. It's a conundrum. You don't
criminal charges, dude.
You don't know
None.
You don't know what to believe with all the outside factors.
22 women, and none of them say no. No, fuck this. You're going to jail. I don't want criminal charges. I want
all that shit.
I don't want civil charges. I want criminal charges. No, He violated me. There's nothing you can say or do. No amount of money is going to have. I want him in jail. Not one out of 20. And the more it grows, you mean not one woman is going to say, I want you in jail? I'm filing criminal charges. Not one? Come on, dude. There's something rotten in Denmark, dude. That don't sound right. And I get Xavier what he said when he said, you know what? Every woman's different. Okay. But if you're going to the point where you're going to file a charge, why a civil charge if he violated you? If he raped you, why a civil charge? No, your ass is going to jail.
You want to believe it's for moral reasons. You know what I mean? Like you want to believe it's for moral reasons. Like, no, screw that. I don't want the money. Like,
Then file criminal. Then file criminal. Then file criminal.
You want to believe it's for moral. Yeah, but still.
Then file criminal. If you want it for moral, then file criminal.
It's not for moral reasons at all.
In my opinion,
I feel like I just feel like Deshaun has some type of a deviancy problem. You know what I mean? Maybe he has like some type of.
He is a pro athlete, dude.
Like
he's
Xavier
a pro
said.
athlete who gets to bang a lot of chicks.
Okay, but
it has since he's been in high school.
But like Xavier said, maybe he has some type of sex addiction problem. Maybe he can't get it. Like maybe there's some issue there that Deshaun's having that's causing these issues with him, causing him to be doing some crazy shit with a bunch of women. You know what I'm saying? Like and who knows? Like I said, let's just wait till the facts come out. Deshaun's doing the right thing and just letting his lawyers handle it.
I don't have to wait till the facts come out because I have my opinion. And listen, and we all know there are a whole bunch of masseuses who'll give you a happy ending. You throw them an extra 50, 80, $100. Okay, let's keep it real. I'll show you where there used to be one in the city. So dude, I am not lying. I know there's some in the city. Okay, one got shut down a couple years ago, and I know tons of cops in there and cops started getting crazy with them, and then. Yeah. So there's, I'm telling you. So I don't know about the sexual addiction, but if you can go and hell, Bob Kraft was getting a happy ending. Come on now.
Yeah.
Come on now. And it was
Well,
like, oh, leave him alone. He's an old man. He's this, he's that.
Bob Kraft wasn't being brought up on sexual assault allegations. Like there wasn't sexual assault allegations following Bob Kraft. Bob Kraft wasn't. Yeah, go ahead.
You know why?
Why?
He's rich and he's white. Because what happened to that case?
What if he was beating the shit out of him, Shawn? Like, what if Bob Kraft was actively raping these women? You don't think that they would be like, all right, we're gonna give you the Weinstein treatment? You know what I mean? Like, they wouldn't go after him completely. I mean, I believe that, but the thing is that there's a difference between going and soliciting prostitution, just go ahead and get you some, like, and going ahead and forcing these women to perform sexual acts on you in the privacy of your own home, their own home, almost in a forced situation. Like that's rape. That there's a huge difference between what they're at, like
I
what
agree.
I feel like their allegations were and what Bob Kraft did.
So then file criminal charges if you feel that a pro athlete or any person has violated you sexually, then file criminal charges. Period. And the fact that there are no criminal charges have been filed is a huge red flag to me, because as you heard Xavier said, that there's not a lot, the punishment for filing those is nowhere near as great as if you file criminal charges and you found that you've lied. That's, again, all these things. I told you I'm a conspiracy theorist, dude, and I having the experience that I've had going to school where I went in high school and college and associating with the people that I've associated with, I've seen how people in power can manipulate. If you don't believe so, just look at our country. Okay, just look at our country and how people can manipulate things. Okay, the Tuskegee experiment. Okay, the Mississippi appendectomies, Jim Crow, all these different things, these laws that people in power can impose on you when they want a certain outcome. When they want a certain outcome, they will do whatever they want because they're in power. Houston Texans owner, okay, wants Deshaun Watson to play for him because he puts asses in the seats. He can win ball games. And to trade, I don't want to trade him. He's a generational quarterback. No, you're not trading. And I think, and again, this is my opinion. I personally think he's like, no, fuck that. You are not leaving here. You're not going to demand a trade and then get one because you want one, little boy. That's how I feel that the owner, and he did whatever he had to do to get him to stay. And if you tarnish his reputation so nobody wants him, guess what? He can't. No one's going to trade for him. Sure, go find a trade, and then you set this up.
But if you're the Houston Texans and you just got you still want Deshaun Watson. Like, the thing is, you want Deshaun Watson to play for you at all costs. I could see, like, that's why I've pointed to Busby being a fucking, a radical kind of crazy motherfucker. Oh, I could elevate myself politically while going ahead and tarnishing Deshaun, because guess what, Houston? Deshaun doesn't like you anymore because, he's not getting treated right on the field. You know what I'm saying? They're not putting a team around Deshaun. I could see Busby alone going out and doing that just to elevate his position without the Houston Texans, because, like I said, they still want Deshaun to be the quarterback. To completely ruin a relationship and tie yourself. If I were the Houston Texans owner, I would cut ties with Busby immediately. He should just cut ties right now, because if you really want Deshaun as your quarterback, like that's less than step one.
Yeah, I mean, but again, in my experience, seeing powerful people, they do whatever they want to get their way. And it doesn't matter how you feel. It doesn't matter. Okay, I'm going to do this, and this is what I want, because the amount of money that I'm paying you, it's not going to matter, because you're still selling jerseys here. Okay, you're still winning games for me here. Okay, you're still doing these things here. And one thing that I learned is rich people do not like to be told what to do. They do, especially if you're in on their level.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm paying you, because I mean, think about it. If they're paying him $160 million, what are they making? What are they making where they can afford to pay you $160 million?
Right.
You know what I mean? And so that's the situation that again, in my experience, I've just seen how rich people do not like to be told what to do, especially by people who are not financially their equal.
And like I said, I could see And I can see that too, John. That's understand. It's all right. Like there's no disagreement here. Like I see it both. That's why it's such a unique situation. I hate to say unique because it's shitty to the women if they were violated. It's a horrible
and you have to look at it, and you have to say that it sucks.
And you have to look at it that way. But man, to look at what has unfolded in a matter of months, like. I don't know where this goes. Like this is something. This is a case like we've never honestly really seen. Like I don't think we've ever seen a situation like this. Like we're all these. And I know Xavier said he's not a conspiracy theorist, and I am. So I'm like that's why I'm like I can see Houston's like hey, hell no, you ain't going nowhere. I can see that, but also
you mean a black man's going to tell a rich white man in Houston in Texas what to do.
Right, but also when there's women involved and women that may have been sexually assaulted, and then there's over 20, and Deshaun has admitted to having these women come by and
having sex with them,
these massages and whatever he's done. It don't look good. Like I don't know.
So my thing is this: if they can, like, and some people may say, "Oh, it's dirty," and I say, go fuck yourself. Okay, because there's so many white men who do the same thing. Bob Kraft. Okay, so you want to say something about Deshaun? You want to say the same thing about Deshaun? If he paid to have sex with them, okay, then you got to say the same thing about Bob Kraft. I don't give a damn if he is 70, 80 years old. Okay, I don't care. He paid for sex. He paid for a woman to make him ejaculate. However, orally, with manually, okay, vaginally, it doesn't matter. Okay, they just got him off as the same thing as Deshaun Watson did with some of these women. And I'm not saying all of them. I'm just saying not all of them for sure. I'm saying some of them for sure. Okay, this is the agreement. All right, I'll give you a little extra money after the massage. All right, you make me ejaculate. End of story. So,
or even if look, it could get to all unique situations. They didn't even have to touch him. Like he probably could have had him be like, hey, you don't have to touch me. Just like massage my leg, and I'm gonna do this myself. You know what I'm saying? Like that could have been arranged. Like. We just don't know. Like wait till everything comes out. Deshaun, just stay quiet, dog. Like if it, I hope you didn't do it. If you did, you're a POS and you should go to jail. But if you didn't, if I were you, I would just stay quiet.
If he didn't, I'd be at home going, wait till it all comes out, because every single person that sued me, I'm suing your ass. Every single one, and that's why he got a big. And I should have mentioned that. Because a lot of them are filed under Jane Doe. Okay. Mm-hmm. And you know what? If you're going to say that I raped you, okay, I need to see you. Okay. I need to see. And that's why, and his lawyers went to court and they won that battle. So now, if women are going to have to, they're going to have to say who they are. Okay. They're going to have to say who they are. And if this falls like a house of cards, man, I'll tell you what, I'm telling you, I'm suing everybody. I'm suing. And if he can find a connection between Busby and the owner of the Houston Texans, man, he's going to own the Houston Texans. Yeah. And then he is going to stay in Houston. Hey, guys, we had a great show, man. 3 hours has come and gone. I can't believe it. That was a great show. I want to thank my guests, Josh Allen, Josh Nelson from SoxMachine.com. Also want to thank Esquire Xavier Poe for coming on, giving us his legal perspective. Man, it was a pretty intense one about the Deshaun Watson case. I also want to thank Kenneth Davis and Jason Palmer for coming on, and I'd be remiss if I didn't thank my producer, my Puerto Rican Simon F. Ivan Vargas as well. Also want to thank our executive producer, Elliot Baez, our social media guy, Clarence Council III, and my co-host in absentia, Maya Akai. All of us came together to try and give you a very entertaining show. Now listen. So well, first of all, tell them what's going on tonight. What time? What's up, cuz?
Oh, you're not. Well, no. Well, I was on. Jason told me to post the pictures, but for them on tonight, their guests on tonight. Oh my gosh, I forgot who they had on tonight. The bodybuilder from DePaul. There we go. He's
the world's largest bodybuilder. You're tallest, and then you have a water polo young lady.
Right. That's on tonight for What's Up, Cuz, from 6 to 8 with Jason Palmer and Lance C. Irvins. But yeah, check that out. And then honestly, there's a full slate on tonight, dude. Like Chicago can recover in a day. You know what I mean? Chicago can recover in a day, sports wise, if all goes well tonight. But check out What's Up, Cuz, 6 to 8. Like I said, should be a great show.
Chicago, the Cubs are at Milwaukee tonight, 6:40. They're on the Marquee Network. The White Sox are home against the Cleveland Indians. They're at 7:10. That's NBC Sports Chicago +2. Okay. The Bulls are at Memphis. They're on NBC Sports Chicago Plus. Okay, and then the Hawks are on the road at Columbus, and they're on NBC Sports Chicago. So you got NBC Sports Chicago, NBC Sports Chicago Plus, NBC Sports Chicago +2. All 4 teams are playing tonight, so we'll definitely have a lot to talk about on Wednesday. So make sure you do that. So for Clarence Council, Elliot Baez, Maya Kai, and my guy Ivan Vargas.
You know what? Don't forget to check out the Understanding podcast. Ken said that should be dropping today soon. So check out Ken over there with the guys.
Okay, so for everybody and my guy Ivan Vargas.
Peace out, y'all.
Guys, I'm your boy, the Superback Shawn Sierra. We're going to take a 45-hour break. We'll see you on Wednesday, 9 a.m. to noon Central Standard Time. If you're not following it, if you don't haven't downloaded the app, do us a favor. Download the app wherever you get SportsZone Chicago. Download it. Take us with you on the go. Until then, and now I got 2 words for you, folks. We out.